the Pantheon E as well, your carries get to be a lot more safe than the enemy carries. You don't have that much backline access. Missing goes towards the Alistar. I totally agree with this. JDG have enough engaged. They have enough damage coming through from the Varus to Lear, and then of course the Pantheon cleaning up as well. You just need a way to hold the door shut. Having an Alistar ult to do that, an Ornn ult to do that, buys JDG a lot of safety for their backline, which I don't think WE can do for their same carries.
I think you've got a point there. I will say though, of course, you've still got the, I know, right? The charcoal skewer combo with the Rumble Skarner. You've still got Nazir. You've still got a Corki. Your AoE damage in a team fight can just blow through a frontline. Post a certain point, your damage really will be pretty obscene post about 2 items, especially if you can get a Rel pairing up with a Skarner to CC in them.
They themselves have known to be a bit of a blue shell.
I want JDG's chat leader to be at my wedding. Like I need him to announce things for me.
You know what? Like, if I get... Okay, so it's my birthday at the end of the month. Just thinking this. I don't know if anyone could get in contact with this guy. If anyone could get him to just do like a... Ding dong! Just as a voice note for me, that... I'm just saying, if anyone has the power to get in contact with this man in the crowd of JDG.
Well, we know a few of the LPL talent. We can maybe just go like, yo, Iris, can you find this man?
There is also the JDG like Discord as well.
True.
But like, what I really need is just this guy to know how happy he makes us in the international audience, because that is a person I aspire to be. TV2 can be a little bit variable. I mean, the Corki role, we saw it lose pretty hard yesterday, actually, in the early game, but then pick things up for IG a little later. The Varus going towards the poke build, really annoying lane though, and you often do want to hug the brush to try and get a good level 1 before he starts poking you down.
For sure, Vampire will crash down and away. Not crash out quite yet. That's for later. Someone calls me baby no caster again. Start screaming. Missing, eat some damage. Do you want to know, like, so obviously I went to the NLC finals.
Yes.
And do you want to know how many times in the space of 2 hours I went, wow, you look like Baby No Money? Do you want to know how that was?
I'm going to say 3 times.
5.
Wow.
Yeah. 5 people I'd never met before. Say, oh my god, you're not Baby No Money. No, I'm not.
No, he's slightly more British than that. Yeah. So Vampire and Taeyon getting control of the wave level 1. No surprise given that Alistar struggles to do that. At the level 1, they'll be able to pick up farm. I don't actually think they've lost any CS here though, which I think is completely fine for them. Even gets the arrow over the top whilst also farming with it. That's a nice place. Shun's down on boss side too. That's important.
You're busy memeing about Baby No various dollar signs.
Oh, that's a good knockup.
Pulverized, headbutt behind. Corki is left out right. Flash forward, trying to get missing. At least gets one with him. Credit to Taeyon.
Yeah, that's really good. Getting the first blood down there. Of course, it doesn't give you extra gold anymore, but he will get the gold. Whereas the kill goes over to Shun on the other side. Missing. Good double knockup, but of course, the turnaround, nice. However, Taeyon loses some farm and loses some XP potentially. I don't know how many minions died in the bot lane. They haven't been able to shove it into turret. I think that is probably still a trade up there for WWE, given that it was a 2v3.
You take that day of the week. Frost bomb at level 1 is pretty silly. Vampire taking opportunity after that play bot side to roam out of the lane. Didn't want to be there. So tries to look at Scout, who just kind of goes, sure.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's only level 2 Rel, so it doesn't do that much damage. It's a little bit of CC, and Scout, credit to him, you know, uses his quite a discipline there. I think this is trying to stop Vampire getting back towards lane. Wanted to pull him out of the crash and stop him getting towards the lane there.
Through to Taeyon, and the issue that has been lost is the XP early on as Taeyon's left caught at level 2 that pays able to get a fair amount of
down here again. But they really want to punish this before he gets that XP back. Does hit level 3, will have Valkyrie now.
Try and jump onto him. There's the Hex Flash over. Taeyon got the Gatling gun running. Headbutt to the wall into the Pulverize. Headbutt away though is Shun. Missing, not quite dead yet. Survives the dive. Good work from him and the squad.
Is anyone else coming down? Monkey's coming down. Who takes the body block? It's going to be Shun.
Gonna try and get some damage onto both here. Vampire and Monkey spreading out, but Shun and Paige pretty scary. Not a lot of mana though on the likes of Paige to try to auto his way to victory. Vampire really low. A last auto does get it. Still got a shield stuck into the Mortal Will. Driven into the tower by Monkey. And makes it in the end a 2 for 2, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's a 2 for 2, but once again, it's the AD carry which dies, which is really annoying for WE. The Corki getting put behind. Corki is not a good champion when he's put significantly far behind in the game. He's safe, he just doesn't offer that much after that point, especially with someone like the Varus being very good at taking an individual AD carry matchup, especially the poke build, and trading very hard against you. Shun, 2 kills for him, a player that we're looking to step up because he had a poor last series versus Weibo. He is up against arguably W's most important player of Monkey, who when he gets rolling will give a lot of problems to his opponents.
And that's completely fair. And the gold lead, as it stands, is non-existent, basically. It's oscillating 100 gold one way, 100 gold the other. We haven't really seen all that much here in the way of actual lead. The biggest lead currently is towards the Rel, who has survived more than the Alistair, basically.
Yeah, the big thing is XP. The big thing is XP, which actually has been evened out by Taeyu now, but there's a wave being collected by Pays. So JDG trying to hard shut down the bot lane has not been quite as easy as they would have liked. I suppose the top lane matchup, worth mentioning this too. You know, Arla's doing fine in terms of CS. He's farming well here. The equalizer to clear the next wave. Arla will recall teleport back in. But, you know, the Ornn being just okay and existing is fine. As long as the Ornn exists within 5v5s later, W will struggle with that.
Well, some Hails of arrows come on out. There's the kissing out that goes wide. Unfortunate. While Taeyu and Ward down bot side being very, very attacked. Level discrepancy not as successful as I thought, actually, as Taeyu, as you noted, is now level 5, same as Pays, so enough of the minions did survive, and Taeyu was around enough to pick up that XP that hasn't actually led to as much discrepancies I kind of think we both thought.
Yeah, I think the first kill, they didn't manage to push the wave into tower. I almost wonder whether Shin should have stuck around to help push it in at that point. But it basically ended up just being a stacked wave, which Taeyu picked up the most of under tower anyway. Now being forced off of the wave a little bit. Scouts once again receiving some attention from Vampire. We're getting towards the point where Globals are starting to come online. Now Scout has his, Shin will have his within, what, about 2 camps, I'd say. So he's pretty close to it too.
Pulled off the wave a little bit right now.
-1.
There's the -1. Comes on through. Yeah, what happens if someone puts exclamation mark cannon in the Twitch chat, Alex?
Who knows, Sam? Who knows?
Hey, what happens there?
Good question.
Immediate cleanse slash. Good work from base, but the summoners are burned. The crash down does come through from Vampire.
It was a nice Captain Jack, but you're absolutely right. It's still both summoners down. But still, that was one of the cleanest cleanses I've seen, especially since that was reacting.
And a nice angle from the likes of Vampire as Pays his bot lane went to put a ward down, got the control ward down, and Vampire chose his moment well. It happens. Sometimes you feel like you can leave your AD carry alone, you just can't.
Head slash over the wall again. Not going to be able to spot out Shun recalling right now. He's not got himself that level 6 yet. He's to wait for the next set of camps to come through. Almost had his first item as well. Of course, getting those 2 early kills. Trying to think if the 2 early kills between the junglers, who it matters the most for. I would say the Pantheon, but because I don't think it changes the way that Stana plays the game that much, whereas Pantheon, when he does get fed, I think it actually does in this competition. Stana, yes, getting towards an earlier Heartsteel and get a bit tankier feels quite good. I don't really think it changes that much, though. Shun on the other side, he can actually start one-shotting some squishies if he gets really far ahead.
Cube. Now, just be a bit wary there. Hasn't really got that much of a meaningful lead, it has to be said.
Wait, do I have Discord on?
I just heard a notification. I didn't want to say anything mid.
That's great.
So I was like, is that a one-off or
That's
not?
all good. I thought it would be in stream mode. Turns out it's not. Let me do that thing where I cut down on Discord. That should be fine.
No problem. I was just like, I don't want to just say
I don't have the headphones on, so I can't.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way to subtly tell you, and instead we're having the conversation live on air, which is super fun. So yeah, guys, Alex had Discord on. How dare he? Dragon's got picked up by Monkey, so lane's got to come on through. So Tame's picked up a couple of plates, which is great news for him. Arla's trying to walk up to this lane, but he will effectively be in a 3v1, especially if Monkey comes on over. Otherwise, it wouldn't in fact be a 3v1. I'd be lying to you. But he does manage to get to the turret.
Yeah, I mean, W do need to be a little bit careful. If they spot Shun, it's okay, but if they don't know exactly where he is, and they do spot him now, they can go for it knowing the Panther's not in range.
Drive forward. Got a big boulder in his hand. Everyone who drives cars knows that's how you do it. If Hail comes on through,
Alex looks quite perplexed.
Because Arla, he flashed and then still got hit by the Impale. Why would you invest it at that point? Didn't use the ultimate either, but choose to use that flash. Tane's getting a lot of gold from this now too. Third kill over to Monkey as well, who we've been talking the importance of the WE. W 1,000 gold ahead at this time mark. Considering how much pressure was put towards them in that bot side early, they've got to be feeling very happy about that.
I think they absolutely are. And I think the other side of that is someone like Monkey being ahead like this is a great sign. Again, we have known him.
Nice flash.
Yeah, I think Scout's in trouble here. Mr. Shadow Strike, unfortunate. Good Emperor.
Oh no!
And it's towards Monkey. Flash over the side, big shove and Scout. It's about to go down.
Not the cleanest execution, but a kill is a kill. Takes a flash from Monkey and the ultimate from Karis. JDG though, I'm getting quite worried now. You have thrown something out in the first jungle clear of the game, that's good. What do you do now when you're running around like headless chickens? Because you've lost a couple of kills, your cross maps have not been that impactful, and you're behind 1,000 gold. WE, they're a good early game team. You just have to make sure you're not giving up too much like this.
And again, we were kind of about to start musing on this point. Monkey is a player we have known for waves in the past. What he's known for in solo queue, about the Pantheon, the carry options for him. But the other side of that has been things like his Skarner have been really, really terrifying. And if he gets ahead enough this game, that he can start just bulldozing his way through what should be quite an annoying backline to get to, you start to get more worried for JDG's comp.
No, it's Skarner's the reason why WE made it through descent and eventually allowed them to get towards the playoffs as well. Now, I think it's a hard composition to play Skarner into. There's a lot to keep you away from the long-range carries of the other team. You need to make sure your angles are good, and there's not that many people opening up their angles with you. You don't have Ryze ult, Talia ult to help you find a multiple angle fight. Tyler on the bot side trying to clear out as best he can. He's now down 20 CS and about 600 gold with that too, with the death, depriving him of some resources. Needs to keep an eye on that, actually. This one is a huge part of JDG's team fight later.
Building towards the magic resist early. I think when you're into the likes of the Vizier and the Rumble, once upon a time it would have been playing for the Corki as well, but I do think some of his changes are come on through. It's made that a little less of a point.
Actually, I can check on GG actually, because you can tell on this with how much percentage is their magical and physical damage.
Oh, that's quite helpful.
So they're about 2/3 physical damage, and the rest of it is split between magic and free damage. There's not that much value onto the magic resist anymore, yeah.
He came through with his changes where before he used to be weirdly magic damage heavy for a champion that was special.
Well, yeah, it's because it's passive used to convert your... Yeah, because then there was the many years now, from like season 8 to whenever. Hang on, ultimate offside. Flash already blown, that's a problem.
Oh, Cube's in so much danger. Call of the Forge gold comes on through, and unfortunately Cube has answered the call. Do you want to buy some car insurance? Cube goes, no, please, not like this. But you've already answered the call. You're going £3,000. Monkey coming on in, looking potentially to ult someone here. His Karis also goes to the side and glide and says, "Ha! I'm here to prove you're a fake insurance person. Get punished for taking fraudulent calls."
I can't believe, even in the modern day of esports, you cannot escape people trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty. Ends up being a 1-for-1 on top side as Karis, good teleport from him. WE, on the whole, they've respected and reacted to the map better than JDG. However, 3 gubs to JDG do mean that Scout on the bot side of the map has taken 2 plates and he's getting better cross map.
Exactly it, and Karis, good work there. How on earth has Monkey got 5 kills? Oh my god, with Skarner.
He's on an absolute tap, just responding to the map very, very well. He has been in the right place at the right time. 3 plates now, a piece between the mid laners, so Scout even in gold. With Karis gets himself up to his Archangel staff, he'll be upgrading that later as the tier gets stacked up. Dragon now spawning in 10 seconds. But the big thing for me is JDG, the plays that they've taken, they haven't had a single clean win in the game yet.
No, they have not, and that's going to be slightly problematic, because then you look at Skarner's gone, well, I've got 50 heart steel stacks at 13 minutes. What are you going to do about that one, man? There's missing. Will need to pop the ult, try and survive that way. Try to turn it around, Mantle comes on through, Change the corruption do come on down. Now Scout in a good position, but misses the side. Big shove with the equalizer comes on onto missing. He wants to flash away. Scout now in danger, getting driven onto. Vampire got hit by the piercing arrow, I believe. Heartsteel proc onto Scout, but not quite enough damage to follow up. Cube now potentially in danger with Tay takes the flash gun over the wall, and Cube tries to stand and deliver. Unfortunately, your barbecue has run out of gas.
Surprised that WWE spent so much trying to kill the ult. Flash Alistair? It's a problem that they've occasionally ran into, over-engaging on the front line, and Pays really positioning well in these fights. Doesn't blow either summoner, manages to get some great damage, as you were saying, onto Vampire, and then at the end, onto Cube. But the problem from this play is a stylistic error, which I have seen coming through from Vampire over time, which is just engage on the first person in front of you. The Alistair with the flash and the ult was not valuable enough, and they used too many cooldowns to take the rest of the fight.
Splitting targets after, because then Scout missed the seismic shove, so Cube puts the equalizer down on missing and Scout, and missing flashes out, and you gotta go, well, okay, so you haven't committed all to one target, you split it across multiple and got no one.
That's a lot of Heartsteel stacks that someone's been talking about, actually, for this one again.
Yeah, he picked up 36 in that last fight.
Yeah, it's about 3 procs total. Ala, Karis is trying to kill the whole turret. Ult coming in from Ala.
Want to bring in a Grand Starfall? Yes, he does. Charge onto the turret. We'll try and get some damage down, but the Empress Divide does a good job of disengaging, and they get the turret. Monkey now coming on up as the Dragon was also secured. Sundish now there. Watch for Monkey be able to drive forward. Does have the flash. Can look for that flash. And the Impale only hits onto Shun, but that might be more than enough. Gets behind this Vampire. The Aegis Assault comes on through and he dies. Can't find that shield vault to bring down the run at the back end of it. Arla is going to be drunk under the table potentially, but will not go down like his namesake, even if the pronunciation is different.
It's the first assist for Monkey, not a kill that time. But once again, JDG not respecting the power of the Skarner in this early game and not respecting how quickly WE can respond to a play. They're looking for, oh, we can maybe just get a 2v2 here, not realizing how quickly people can respond from WE. And this time it's Shun paying the price for it. Monkey, insane early game from him. My only caveat is just that JDG, while this has been happening, have been using the 3 grubs well and have been getting plates here and there, or had been before this point, before they fell off.
Skarner's got 123 Heartsteel stacks, just to let you know. Just a quick update again.
Yeah, and this is not an on-hit Varus, this is the poke Varus, so we'll be getting quite tanky. I wonder whether he could have put the ult over the minions to get a bit more wave to play down and also hit the enemy champions. Maybe that could have helped them there. Couldn't quite do that, and the tower doesn't help them as much as I think they were predicting. Flashes for a potential double impale, only gets a single, but hey, that's you'll take that.
And Vampire doesn't quite go down with mid-shield vault. Can't quite connect with it, all the while we go back to his Herald. Monkey picks that one up. That is the feat to strength, because they've gotten the first 2 dragons alongside that Herald, so they put themselves in a fantastic position here to really snowball ahead of this game. Work from W in the early game with a composition I thought was going to have to come online a little later, I won't lie to you.
Yeah, the 1-item spike for this team can be pretty good, especially when you're playing an early game like this, when you're managing to shut down a little bit of the goal from someone like Ala. I say that. Actually, Ala's doing very good. Cube's now 0-2 himself. Not bad for JDG. I mean, my worry is, and this has been the case with WE against a lot of other teams, their early games are good, but if they get towards late game team fighting, they're just not the same level of individual brawn and mechanical potential that some of these top teams have. Karis maybe caught out the side lane. No flash. Might have to ult something here.
First pick is Zia. Gets a good shove away. He's been pretty solid so far today as Karis, but where do you run right now? He's got a teleporting Ornn that's come up to enjoy his company, and it is Scout that picks up the kill in the 3v1.
And nice roams across there. Ala teleporting in for the play, and for W, they don't have grubs to push towers as quickly. Hayes does need to be a little careful. He knows that. He's just trying to wave clear as best he can. Herald now put in towards mid lane. He should be safe with coverage from the Pantheon ult.
Vampire off vision. Cube also coming. This could get very dicey. How aggressively do they want to play this? This also being there makes this interesting. Recalling is the Rel though. Big problem though, throwing that. Was a 4-man collapse. Engage now onto Monkey, but I don't actually know whether the 3,000 HP Skarner is going down that easy. Scout's now come on over though, and he will actually fall. Good work from JDG, as Taeyun and Karis were back in base anyway. Apologies, Taeyun was a bit further down the lane, and I just blanked with his recall stop.
The Herald drove into tower. Normally it's a bit of an escape vehicle. This time it's a hearse. They kill the Herald, knowing that the Skarner has no flash, immediately ping him with the Varus ult afterwards, and he goes down in the extended play. So that's a shutdown. It's gold over towards Shun, and while JDG lose the tower, getting that Skarner off the board for a little bit is definitely a win for them.
Who picked up that kill? I think it was Paige.
Shun, I think
Shun.
it was.
Okay, well, he gets the shutdown, which will be very valuable to him. Actually brings him into a gold lead. purely off that value, which is a big deal. Scar as well, immediately on the reset. Monkey picks up the Unending Despair, which I'm sure he would have liked in this fight.
Yeah, so the Herald goes in, kills the tag, gets the recharge on the play here, and I think that's a misclick. He was out safe, he was behind the Herald, and then gets taken out of the Herald, Varusol hits, and Pace can just basically get through a 3-stack double set of abilities. While missing, yes, does take a lot of damage, there's no full engagement with 3. Vampire's not at the play, because obviously you don't expect the fight to happen at that point.
It's recall, yeah.
And we lose the play. So Dragon coming up in a minute, not quite there at the Muramana Fontaine. If he can complete that, only 30 stacks left. I don't think he can quite get to it in terms of the spawn itself. He would be soul point for W on Chemtech Rift.
How much he can get off this next wave. He can try and get through a few abilities here. Pays also around. He's got the Edge of Night completed. It's a little harder for him to be picked. He's done a good job staying alive so far this game. A good start to the lane, even if he didn't properly snowball fully in his advantage. Up about 500 gold, which is good news for him. But again, we are a little worried about this. Varus into certain members, they start getting increasingly tanky.
Having said, one thing which will help with that is the fact that Scout has 2 items at this point. That is a huge core for the Talir, the Leandries, and the Saracen Brace. Dragon spawning now. JDG presumably want to stop the soul point. They're teleporting in both people on the top side, so Cube is here, Scout is here. JDG don't have great vision for now, though.
W being a bit slower here, they want to get Taeyu towards that Moramani, clears another wave out. I think he might have gotten it off that wave, but at least it doesn't 5 or so stacks off. So he might come in mid-team fight. Here we go again.
Oh wow,
Let's go! Let's put Vampire in a difficult position. Has to charge away. They do get the chains of corruption though onto Monkey. Flash out himself. Arlen's gone forward, but now he's pretty deep, using the Searing Charge to buy some time as he looks to run away. Bella's breath was also burned, missing, got very deep. Gonna look to make his will unbreakable. Headbutts his way out. Will lose his life for it, but Monkey is traded because the headbutt forced the Skarner away back into the enemy team. Not a bad trade, all things said and done.
I mean, if we don't have enough sponsors, if we could get a Monster Energy Blast Cone for rad plays like that, I would take that on Chemtech Rift. That was an insane Blast Cone. WWE had no idea that the Alistair would get flung into their mist, and while Missing did go too deep afterwards, it's his play that starts the fight in JDG's favor. JDG will get the Dragon, they'll get another kill onto the Skarner, who's still worth a decent amount of gold, and WE, that was a moment where they would have liked to put strategic pressure on JDG by getting early Dragon stacking. They failed to do so.
So, let's have a look again, because this got wild. This Blasco throws the miles!
Like the double tank engage front line, hopping over the Rel Cube. Vampire's like, oh shit, gonna cast the Q at them, misses it because they fly over his head. And then Vampire doesn't get to play the team fights. That's one of the engaged threats down. Monkey is like, well, I am tanky frontliner. You realize how untanky you can be as a starter in some of these games, sadly. You're okay for now, but, you know, if you sit up there for long enough, Varus and the Talir will definitely cut through you.
Really good backstep from Page and Scout. Nearly ended up with a triple impale. Only ended up with a 1, and the Alistair just gets to cleanse it. One of the reasons he's often better into the Skarner the most.
Good poke onto Paris.
I remember when Varus used to be a thing into his ear. That's kind of why, guys.
Yeah, it took a Comet Spear as well. Missing does have ultimate, so it's harder to immediately chunk him out. Atakan, I mean, everyone's just around here. We're not cross-mapping, we're just seeing if anyone makes a mistake.
Conscious, Paris. A bit more damage than go. Also once again burn. They got the Weavers with JDG beginning to...
Oh, he's hopped over the wall!
He has gone over the wall, trying to get something, but does at least get some value. Ola has to flash back on out. Should will get the Skarner. What about the turnaround damage? And they put a lot into killing the Skarner, and they lose their own jungler in trade. Taeyu now hopping on forward for his own order. Misses the false bomb, but does at least hit the rocket to bring his spell shield down. Is that a jungler for a jungler?
I'm very surprised that's a 1-for-1. With the flick over the wall from the Talir onto the Skarner, I thought he'd be isolated out, but you can see there was some pretty good turnaround CC from WE. It's not like JDG are completely free to fling themselves into the enemy team. However, you know, we've been talking an awful lot about that Skarner, was the man who went down there. 1,000 gold lead in jungle now to Shun. It is massively turned around, I suppose, in terms of the individual impact on that. Shun was getting involved in kills early, but he's got so many shutdowns now. He's slingshotted ahead of the Scorpion.
Big deal. Again, it's not like Monkey's going to be complaining too much about his scoreline right now. Look, he's got a good heart. The heart's still stacking. He's got the second item. Your Skarner is fine at this point, but you do need to start getting some more gold onto this Azir, onto this Corki, onto this Rumble, who are at least at 2 items themselves. And in some ways, it almost feels like JDG should have been in this position 10 minutes ago. Being here at 23 minutes is a bit more worrying when you are into it Azir, Corki, champions that do like their items quite a lot.
Equalizer into the mid lane, Pace has a spell shield prop, but he just pops the Ghost Blade and runs off. Not sure about that, Cube.
Well,
suppose, when you've got nothing else to play for, being a bit opportunistic with your ults, you've got the timer to do so. Got away with it this time around.
Scout and Shun so washed. I think they're having a good game so far on the whole. Shun, his early game, yes, had a little bit of an overdive here or there. But Scout on the other side, I think that his flicks have been very good. And this Talia may be the X factor which JDG needs. We've seen the wall massively influence these fights. I think the best Talia players in the world use their ultimate like a scaffold for the fight. They'll pin people into the right place, try and separate teams. It's not just about turning up to a fight, it's just changing the very terrain you're fighting on.
Bit of terraforming. Scout clearing up that outside wave. JDG also looking to potentially counterpunch if WE go to find him.
He has flash, but I'll have to get anything out of this. Yeah. And suddenly Vampire and Monkey quite far behind enemy lines. Cube is pushing topside, does have teleport if he wants to keep down. No objectives up as it stands. And remember, JDG, they have the 3 grubs. So whenever plays happen like this, where you kind of try and play some smoke and mirrors, JDG have that extra advantage to kill towers.
Here we go.
Hayes might get collapsed on again, missing over the wall.
Monkey's also coming. Carrot's going to get caught on the wrong side of the weave as well. Vampire now also very deep. Flashes the headbutt engage, crashes down over the other side of it. Monkey throws out another evil, but now Vampire in danger before the recall comes on through. Shun jumps on forward with the shield body to the side with shove. And Talia Pantheon as a combo we have seen a few times before, and I wonder why.
Yeah, WE, they've really tried to catch up Hayes in the mid lane, and that is a good decision to make. But JDG are playing well defensively around the Varus, particularly with the spell shield and the Ghostblade movement speed. It's been too hard to easily catch off. And then on the retreat, JDG are getting value. That will buy them the Atacant. It will likely buy them the Dragon. Well, maybe not the Dragon. Vampire will be alive for that again. But JDG at least getting an objective out of that last fight.
Atacant likely to go down here. Should we lose a bit of T-bar here? And Monkey's actually driving up. This could get a bit interesting. They've not managed to rush it fast enough.
Vampire's not here. This shouldn't be a big fight.
Try and play for this potentially. Look to threaten, missing will headbutt out. What about the play behind us? K-Unit, Karras on the flank, John's in danger. Needs to pop up, look at the Aegis talking about the Boyle comes on down. Karras looks like shot back and Scout is now in danger himself as his pace. As Karras just flashes on in and murders the AD carry. Will trade his life for it, but I think he's happy enough with that.
Yeah, WE managed to call JDG's bluff. I think they thought they'd get the Atacant for free. Not the case. Karras doesn't get the clean execution onto Pays, which means that he will go down, but I think with 4 members, I think actually with the Azir dying, I don't think they can Baron. If the Azir was alive, it would be a lot of DPS. They're going to try anyway. Might be rough with Shun coming back up with ults.
They have a 2-item Rumble, a 2-item Corki. I think they can probably do a fair amount here. We'll see exactly how quick
it is. Oh no, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
It's going to be quicker than I thought it was. So, JDG, get the Atacant, but lose the fight and lose the battle.
Where is everyone else? Shun does have Grand Starfall, but I don't think he'll be here quite in time for him. Even with him spawning now, he is just dead. He can look for it potentially on the reset, but I think it is just going to be a few seconds delayed.
WE immediately jump ahead in gold. So this is the play which comes after the Atacant, where Pays gets out of the Impale and does a really good job of playing around Karras. I actually think Scout and Pays do a really good job for the position they're in. They just brought into a fight where they were flanked, and the immobile carries of the Talia and the Varus couldn't really escape the damage coming in from WE. The problem with WE, they don't have backline access. That's your way to get it, get a random flank.
Do just that, they get some really important flashes off as well. That Scout flash down, Pays flash down, and yes, they got the Atacant, but it's so damn slow. They've only got punished. Vampire though, using half his HP bar before the Dragon Fight is problematic. Monkey flashing before trying to get off the Scout.
Monkey.
But still gets the Impale on top of the Equalizer. It kind of works. It's a bit janky, but the damage is done. They will bring down the Skarner, but I think the damage after looking pretty problematic. And Pays also dies when we had no flash. Scout though, keeping himself alive. KU Valkyrieing forward. Arla just about to have the last auto. Flashes on forward with a Gatling gun rolling. Shun needs to back away the Aegis assault and will just about survive. Make it the retreat as WE find themselves a hell of a lot of value. He's still going. Another Valkyrie forces the flash out of Shun.
Yeah, WE are doing it. They get themselves the Dragon. They get a huge fight, and JDG are not really managing to protect their backline in the way that they would have liked. In that play, Missing didn't have ult. It came up a couple of seconds after he went down. A huge mistake from the JDG squad to not wait for that ultimate from Alistar.
Q flashes over the wall, but now he's caught between the base gates and all of JDG. He's not quite headbutted over the wall, then he gets a bit of Karras is taken here. They're saying you can't have our top laner for free. And they'll bring down Shun, who's now missing, goes down as well. This Corki is a menace.
Disaster class from Shun and Missing in the last couple of minutes. They try and find the free pick onto Cube without realizing once again that W are just faster to the play than them. But the Covenant and Halo, they've always been faster this game. Dragon will finally go down. and WWE will find themselves not just with a 6,000 gold lead, but also soul points.
He's gone to talk to the Prophets, and he's asked, what would you have your AD carry do? And it turns out carry a few team fights has been the answer. Has picked up an Immortal Shield Bow. Yeah, Corki.
Pace might get jumped on by Vampire here if the Hex Flash over all there is. What's the follow-up? Ah, misses the crash down.
The follow-up is a failed encore, basically. Like, oops.
We'll find a pick onto the AD carry. Were it so easy. Paze, on the whole, I think Paze has been having a really good time of things on the Varus. It's just the rest, his front line is not really doing the damage, doing the job of being tanky and keeping the players off them that they've needed to do. I believe that was a smite away by Monkey getting the team red buff.
Worth noting, by the way, W had Baron buff this entire time. They got a 5k Baron power play, got an inhibitor off that as well.
Yeah. JDG, I think, tried to pull them away from the lanes and just said, well, let's fight so you don't get value out of it. JDG, though, I mean, for a team which I think has been typically quite good at team fighting throughout this split, that has been their big downfall. They've lost in those team fights, opening up. The team fight setup has been very poor for them, allowing flanks very, very easily against them. Missing now on a grand old journey. Karras pushing up in top lane. Flank here. I mean, Missing does.
In action.
I mean, Karras has no flash. Missing does. Has ult up in 10. I mean, if they can get Karras for free, does he have a Seekers? I don't think he did.
It's coming. Grand Starfall. TP's in. They want this. Missing's about to make his move. Eyes on it. Thank you, observers, for that wonderful little bit of vision dopping. They still don't see the cow. Cool, the boys going to be on Karras. Going to go golden off the flash headbutt. They're going to get some value down. Shuffled away. Buying a lot of time. Karras survives the play. The man is on the impale. It's absolute warfare out here as everything is put to the flame. They are torched. JDG's flank angle collapses under their own hubris.
The Zhonya's is a drop of gold dust for WE as they teamfight their way to a Game 1 victory.
And Karras just TP'd into the base to get that value. Might go. So we'll get Ola as well. The first pickers here will end 7-2. You come for the king. You come for the Emperor. You best not miss.
JDG on their home soil in their own home arena of Beijing are now down the first game in the series. WE, a team which I don't think many people expected grand aspirations. JDG must have immaculate vision control. Good early lanes potentially too to stop WE doing what they did last game. Getting some early advantages, putting down better vision before the fights, and then managing to close the distance on the backline where JDG's frontline failed to protect them. If WE get vision and they manage to find any CC onto the Rise or onto the Lucian, pretty sure that Taeyun flies in or Karras flies in and finishes up the job. WE, good composition by my eyes.
Do of course have that ability to maybe mitigate some of the CC by throwing down the Thunderdomes, trying to manage the Shinzao and the Jax that way, but again, reminded, Jax was often played into things like the Gwen and the Shinzao, particularly when Gwen was first released, because you could try and fight in their arenas and come out, if not on top, then at least with a little bit, can definitely carry on that front. Or if we go, let the mightiest voices in the world yell in favor of their teams.
来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
You can tell which chat leader is close to the microphone because obviously WE's guys very much on the other side of the radio, hearing the echo. With
Bless you.
Thank you very much.
Gesundheit.
Oh no, it's coming again.
Gesundheit. Sam, have you taken your antihistamines?
I've not. Wow. Turned around on me.
No, I do actually, like, hay fever is a thing which I've, had for many years, and every time I sneeze, my family just says, yo, have you taken your pills? Doesn't matter if I have or haven't, it's just a habit over a lifetime at this point. So
I also know it winds Alex up just a bit, and
yeah,
therefore it makes me smile.
No, understand. Not just a bit, a good amount.
I know, but that's precisely why I do it. You understand this, correct?
Worth noting as well, we'll just point this out, we've seen this multiple times in the recent patches. We do see a lot more of the spellbook coming in from the Braum, less of the Guardian nowadays. It gives you ability to get teleport for the first time you go back to lane. It allows you to get exhaust instead of heal for some fights as well, which can be quite important. Even going towards something like a cleanse can be quite big against the likes of the Ari Charm in some games. Does stop you having the same crazy protection potential that Braum can have. I wonder if that's the mistake going against a triple melee dive combo, just trying to get his hands on the Lucian.
Arla's actually gone towards the Ignite here. Some of you just mentioned that, but worth saying, they have gone for that Ignite here on Gwen. Wanting a bit more power in that 1v1 moment. Just feel like Gwen's have started to go back towards things like the Flash over any of the fancier summoner spells, so to speak. We are starting to see how occasionally had things like the Ignite
fast.
So that is very matchup dependent. From what I was speaking to a lot of top laners about this between Orame, Finn, and the guys which they have on LEC. We have a lot of top laners there right now. Scout good trade there on Terrace actually. But the thing about the Gwen into the Jax is that it's such a trade heavy matchup, you need the ignites. Most matchups you will take the flash, but if it's a very tight 1v1, you'll go for that ignite. And sometimes against a Rumble, you'll actually take the exhaust instead because it allows you to chase him down for the follow-up auto attacks, even through his E.
And we started seeing Rumbles then run phase rush to manage the exhaust slow, which is crazy.
So that's kind of like the arms race on the top side. There was also a very fun set of results like that. Going into a Braum Shield, not always the best thing ever. It takes a decent chunk back. Q lands and pays, gets the pass the attack. See that the Lucian Braum coming back. Honestly, Lucian Braum's
OG lane.
It was a thing in season 4 exactly, and then it just kind of disappeared for years and years. And Solly, thank you so much for the resub, by the way. Of course, that's awful. Not a difference to it. I'll stop in that recall. By the way this matchup goes is basically Jax never wants Gwen to get access to the wave if at all possible, because if you get the Q4, it sucks like this. So you try and trade. Trying to ignore as much of that Q4 as possible, the full stack on the...
A snip must only be a snip and not a snip.
Exactly. If it goes up to the full amount, it's very hard for the Jax to trade back onto it, especially matchups like this with the Ignite. It's actually threatening kill threat here now. Monkey's coming up. A Flash Bonk would be able to kill Shin going into the topside river. The Shinzao wins these early trades.
Monkey needs to be very wary about what he uses. Nice ward there, appropriately aware things could get interesting. Scout and Kara thinking about moving towards this. Scout comes on in. But good warrior trickster clone actually makes sure that the...
Needs to be afraid of a charm, 2v2.
Outside, Tayu not quite stunned up, trying to step on forwards, buy some time, but the pattern perhaps it comes on down, missing. Also pretty low here, flashing forward from Vampire. Will get the heal out of missing.
Teo knew that the Braum passive was going off. Did any summoners get blown topside? No. Monkey ends up securing the crab. Ala, he's not in a great spot here, actually. Monkey could go in for an early kill. They haven't tracked Monkey that well here, actually. Ala's in danger.
He's going to back enough off the wave, and Monkey not seeing a particular angle in there will not go in.
But he needs help with this wave state. Like, this is slowly pushing in. He doesn't have the HP. He can teleport back in, but his base was a little later, so he'll lose half a wave of XP and gold, which is a bit annoying there for Ala. JDG, once again, I don't think they've had the best read on the early plays. No. WE have been one of our better early game teams in the LPL, but JDG misreading the map quite badly here against WE.
It's been a little problematic, I think that's fair to say. Hayes doing his best to order some of those waves down, and that can be a bit problematic here as WE, again, if they get to 2 items with this comp, like, oh boy, things get quite scary.
Second back out of the brush, doesn't shield just yet.
Missing needs to back away, throws up the Unbreakable, but he looks a little breakable to me, I'm not going to lie. Pace will at least give him a second shot, possibly a third and fourth as things go. Shun now coming on down, but so is Monkey here, both junglers matching.
The Cookie really helping missing out there because he's on low HP, gives you even more healing. It doesn't have Guardian, doesn't have something like the heal. See that Vampire's using a lot of his mana now to push in the last of this wave, and it's actually Pays who's missing and standing behind Pays this time, actually, because they're afraid of that next hook.
What champion would the Cookie Monster play in order to get the most cookies?
Nunu?
Nunu? Yeah, true.
I'm sorry, Sam, he has grungy Nunu as like the that's not the Cookie Monster, that's like the dude in the...
Is there a... Does Morgana have that one tray with the burning cookies?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Baker one.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
That and all the cookies.
Yeah, nice play there. Nice trade there from Scout. I'm actually, you know, this is... I know that Ahri is technically okay into Ryze. Ryze is like my bogey matchup in mid lane. When I play, I don't know. I just can't hit skill shots on the guy.
Blue man scary.
The blue man walks up to you like, aha, he'll step back. Ryze never steps backwards. He just always steps forwards into it. I'm like, oh, damn, he's gone into like mid range and he can start actually doing way more damage than I can possibly do on my champion.
Just yells really loud. When do we get like a JoJo skin for a Ryze?
Oh, popped upside. Monkey's going to be here first potentially.
Set to work with. Cube forced to flash there. Ow, that sucks. Still the ignite on Ala, by the way.
I didn't even use it. Oh, even tag set it back in there, so Q can't even walk up to the wave now. That's a problem. Wave can get frozen without the teleport. In fact, what might need to happen is WE might need to recall. They'll spot him out with a sweep and out. They don't actually. Oh, Cube!
Oh boy, and look at the step. No, not quite enough. The ignite does the work anyway. The 3 talent strike knockup comes on down, and Monkey see, Monkey don't.
I mean, I guess it's just like, we've talked about the whole, like, 100 men versus 1 gorilla. It turns out 2 JDG members is enough versus a Wukong. to win this one fight. It's a little bit more even than the Gorilla Challenge. Hook lands very deep there, but it's pulled that Vampire out of position a little bit.
I'll tell you can't get the Acadian Rain through the Unbreakable. So it ends up being a bit even. Now Paze gets the ability to relentless pursuit forward.
Realm
That's
Warp.
appropriate. Realm Warp now coming on down. The Arclay's already landed. Flash on forward. Rune Prison comes on down, and Taeyun is arrested by the strong arm of Braum's Law.
Good use of the global there from Scout, and the early game starts to fall apart for WE now. Earlier into the first game, JDG hard forced onto bot lane, but it was an even trade. They'll be trading 1-for-1. And then WE managed to, of course, team fight much better later into the game. Now, it's a 2,000 gold lead, 1.5k to JDG, and that lead is spread across the map, particularly with the Gwen getting 2 kills. That is a horror story for WE, because I do think they have ways to deal with the Lucian. They don't have nearly as many tools to deal with a fed Gwen.
It's very tricky, and this is them trying to help shove that wave out, and Shun just didn't get spotted. The sweep and switched over.
And Counter-Strike is good for many things, doesn't stop an Ignite, so that gives the full damage, and Monkey loses his top laner, and of course, the reason this is possible is because that last Needlework tagged Cube in the brush. That left stack of it, he walked to try and greed for a little bit of XP. It's a game of inches sometimes, and JDG, they measure in their, they measured in their favor. Grub's now started.
You're now looking at a Gwen with already steel caps. Could be very annoying to manage in the 1v1. Grub's still going to be started by W, as you said.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're seeing that much contest right now.
Yeah, Scout doesn't have teleport, so he's not moving there. Instead, getting his own plates. If they could get... I'm not leaving the Wolf of bot lane, as he is currently right now.
TP up again now, so maybe I suppose they could have come over, but I think they're happy enough with not having this setup to just give it over.
Could you imagine, like, instead of skins for champions, skins for items, you have, like, tier items and Rod of Ages, which are like basically your stock market going. Well, Mejo should be real stock market actually, but like all of the stacking items, the wolf.
I genuinely think there are also, like, if you wanted to do a new ultimate skin, that might not be a bad idea. Just like, imagine like Mundo, but like he buys like silly items that are like business related.
I would actually play a game mode which is entirely joke items.
Yeah.
You know, like the spatula and stuff like that. Just things which are just like completely not okay.
Evelyn would not be allowed to have a skin like that.
No, her items would be very questionable.
Considering the line she says about Void Staff alone.
Yeah, and in other languages it is much less.
But Italian voiceover on Dragons apparently is quite racy.
I'll use the W to stay safe on the tower here. On the whole, I do quite like Ahri into Gwen, by the way. You often have good ways to disengage as long as you... It's kind of like the Fizz conundrum for those Ahri players who played against the Fizz matchup. A lot of people don't like playing against Fizz when they're newer Ahri players, but until you learn, you just never cast Charm until he casts his E. You just never let him hop over the one skill, which is stop and going all in. Same kind of thing with the Ahri versus the Gwen. You try and force out the W without using your Charm, and you use that to keep yourself safe afterwards. Karis not going towards his global champions this series so far, playing the Azir and then the Ahri, much more about his own mobility, his own individual playmaking power, rather than kind of turning up on someone else's screen. In this game, decent draft for an Ahri to get some good damage down, but losing the early kills of the game to JDG do not make your job easier.
You will hit a point where it becomes a lot harder because your easy access charm targets have got some responses to you.
So there's a friend of mine, an Ahri main in chat as well, who's talking about like, oh, but Zed's worse than Fizz as well. The thing is, I also like playing against Zed because the more I've played that matchup, and Zed being like one of my other top 3, you just again hold your charm for when he ults you, you just charm behind you. That hook, but doesn't quite find the target. But again, most like matchups for like skill shot reliant champions like the Syndra, like the Ahri, Lux with her Q, a lot of the time is if they dodge this, do I die? And that can be the case with stuff like the Gwen if she presses the W on it, or counter-strike into something, or like riposte into counter-strike debris. That's a big fight into mid lane. Now what?
Into the dredge line, and unfortunately, you're in a dredge line world, living in a, well, bot lane dive world, and he dies a horrible death. Pays nicely.
I was too busy yapping about skill shots to remember, oh yeah, by the way, macro is happening. Good kill onto the mid lane there. We did say that they have good tools to kill the Lucian. We'll do that. 3 grubs will help them pick up 2 quick plates.
I tried to go for the east side girl, westbound world, whatever it is. I forget where it's...
Shun stops a recall. Shun... Oh, Taeyun doesn't have flash. That's a problem.
Taeyun's going to end up getting knocked into the air multiple times. The wind becomes lightning and spikes the Kai'Sa into the dirt.
What? Okay, WE are meant to be the team which are killing the AD carrier midway. Taeyun dying there because of a poor recall is really against the composition in this point in the game. JDG pick up an easy kill, which evens up the kill for kill on AD carry.
also messed Monkey, because that's like his whole quadrant gone off. That's Karis just took a turret shot, a bit awkward for him.
And again, that is the whole using your charm onto the W. That can be really problematic. Karis taking aggro is saying Cube under turret, doesn't have ultimate, does have flash. With the wave dive, it's not that big of an Arla.
He dodges one of the needles, and it'll be ult for ult in the end.
Arla still had the ignite as well. And Errant's Q could have taken Karis down there. Karis will get himself a level up and a little bit of a heal. Gets a heal from his passive there as well, I believe. People forget that also, you know, you kill 9 minions, you do get a mini heal. It's mainly on the champions when you know.
Ari's ring wraith confirmed. One of the 9.
9 minions were given to the
That's
Foxes
what the
in
Dark
mid lane.
Seal is. It's the Ring of Power.
Well, okay. I have made that joke before.
Yeah.
I've also thought it would be very funny. It would be really creepy. But if you asked people in advance, it'd be funny. Where if you went around to like at a convention and you find people, you know, like dressed as Ari, and you like bring out a ring box, go down on one knee, and just would you stack my seal? Roll up into top side, try to catch out Q and flashes away.
There's probably some content in that to go around like, yep. Proposing to Ari cosplayers to what accepts me.
The more socially acceptable version would be carrying around a Medjay's and getting people to sign the Medjay's.
Yeah.
I should do that at some point, actually. That should be like my autograph book. I should do that for League of Legends.
That's very true.
So if anyone, hang on, Arla doesn't have, well, he isn't bringing a flash. Where's his W? He might need it. Monkey coming over.
Turn to Monkey. Out comes the depth charge. There's some Hallowed Mist, and Arla is safe on sanctified ground for a moment or two. We'll try and skip the flash away, but there's a charm waiting, and Gwen can't wait to meet her hero.
JDG not tracking the map very well. Another time in this series where they've been collapsed on unexpectedly onto Arla's side of the map. He's 1,000 gold ahead. You would have felt they want to be playing around the Fed Gwen, but they don't see that in advance. And now with the 3 grubs, Ari will be able to push in for potentially another plate, maybe 2, onto bot lane. JDG farming up all waves at once. They're getting good minions out of this, but a little concerning that they've now let Arla die multiple times on weak side in this series, which felt they were avoidable.
Well, to the tier 1 bot side we go. WE whack some of those down and should actually get first turret off, which is good news for them. We're going to see that traded, so that's pretty good news. Karis gets a lot of that gold in the plates. TP towards that bot side, charm for that last minion. Good start there. Is the RE now up 10 CS? Gold in a good spot in this game. I need to see him buy a Dark Seal, otherwise they can't propose to anybody else.
Yeah, particularly in games like this, you do need the extra amount of damage to get kills before the Braum gets into position and they can turn things around. Resets coming through, Dragon coming onto the table. First item for everyone except top laners who've put a little more money into their boots instead. It'll be second Dragon over towards JDG. W would not like to see those dragons get stacked up.
What kind of boost do they buy? Are they like Chanel?
Yeah, you know, like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, when he has his Chanel boots. Like those are the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, like that's something we Star Wars got right. The boots look really cool. Like they're like the riding boots, which basically no one knows, but like I'm just saying,
cool.
If it was more socially acceptable,
you would probably suit riding boots.
Yeah, I already have an outfit which looks kind of Han Solo-like. I've got that one light jacket I wear on the LEC sometimes. I've thought about it, Sam. I've thought about it. Maybe when I get a big shape paycheck and I don't have, like, you know, bills to pay. Harold started up. Would be feats of strength for JDG. They are one objective marker after that. Are even in gold, completely WE, despite the fact that they were quite far ahead earlier into the game. They've let that slip just a little bit. Karis getting more gold from side lanes. Hex skates over from Vampire, who's spotted though, and he hooks into the wall!
Okay, we get to walk away.
Half HP. That could have been so much worse. Gets the half the cooldown back as well, missing. Has the snap to opposition. Doesn't put the shield up just yet. Doesn't need to teleport into the Gwen.
50% success rate, but how Vampire to some extent to flash away, put the depth charge down. Paige somehow is on a bit of an spot, and in comes Taeyu following up on Monkey's Cyclone. They bring down the Lucian. We said they'd have a lot of ways to get a hold of it. Taeyu has to flash away. Monkey now in danger himself, getting stacked up on the Braum passive. All the while in the river, Shun gets a hold of Vampire, stakes him with the spear. I suppose that'll do as an improvised way to get to the heart. Monkey goes down the Wukong, nothing left to do. Taeyu now in danger, has got nowhere to go. They all went so deep for Paige, and they're regretting it now as Karis needs to run very fast. Flee, little fox, flee! As Gwen gets the kill.
Run for your lives! As they all go down, a 5-for-1. As this is exactly what we mentioned earlier into the game. Turns out we know what we're talking about sometimes. W have the tools to reach the Lucian. Do they have the tools to deal with a Fed Gwen or Fed Shinzao in this case too?
9.
Nine. No, they do not. WE, they dive very heavily, and we'll see that in the replay here. As You know, they go onto the Braum. Again, this is the problem with Vampire. Why would you go onto the person with the shield? Already lost half his HP. It means they don't have the best engage. Monkey luckily picks up some of the pieces. If they don't manage to get on pace, this fight is even worse than it was. Somehow, while this is happening, suddenly you have a Gwen who's managed to force Cube out of the play, and they can't take fights on both ends. The engage from Vampire at the start of that, losing so much HP, really hurting their ability to swing through the fights.
Paris only landed a target for missing. It's not on the scout. Someone who would be really valuable to pick up, and then the extended plays gets really ugly. And yes, of course, the Lucian will be prime target, but because you've got other people to pick up the pieces, you can kind of just deal with the fact that, look, Paige, you're going to have a tough game, but it's okay.
Herald was just killed by Shundev. This is who came out of replay, so they do get themselves the feats of strength, and that will immediately kill the mid lane turret. In fact, is he going to just summon it and ride it into the mid lane turret, get a little bit of quick journey in there? Doesn't actually need this to kill the turret completely. Loses half of the HP, a bit of a wasted charge there. Would have been fine anyway. Going to charge the inner one for good luck.
He does that. Pulls away. Get that door coming on up. Makes it a bit problematic.
That's half his HP again. You can't afford to lose that kind of HP. Going again. Why are we going on the Braum?
We're going to try and find that when it becomes lightning. Monkey trying to back on out there, but again they went on the Braum and missing just doesn't care.
That is the least valuable target you can dive onto. It's going to lose in the mid lane inner turret because they just lost half their engaged support HP and the Cyclone, which is so critical for killing the carries in the backline. WE losing their heads around the Herald, and now in this mid lane defense. This is the kind of panic which JDG had in the last game where the game was falling apart and they didn't find a way to stabilize. WE, they're a game up in the series, but that doesn't mean you get to fling your engage around so loosely like that.
Oh, hang on, it's a bit dicey. Karis also coming on up. Flash burn by Cube. Owlet has not got the ignite left. When becomes lightning available, but doesn't quite land. And they do get that kill onto the Gwen. Important. Karis now with just reset and waiting for another charm. Gonna be up in a second or two. Looks for an angle, can't quite find it.
They have the grubs. They have the grubs. They can stick around on this top side. They just want to see if they can chunk out Shin enough that he couldn't defend the tower. Sadly, they can't. In fact, lands a win becomes lightning. Missing, doing a great job of being a tank to the Braum this game.
Back away. Is hit by that depth charge. Also, that Wind Becomes Lightning onto Cube is problematic. Angle. They can't sit there. That's really problematic. Been slowed down by the Wind Becomes Lightning, but doesn't take the angle in.
While all this is happening, Scout doesn't have the teleport yet. It's coming up in a couple of seconds. Stays in bot side. W will take some camps, but again, I've criticized missing a lot over the last couple of years. But missing in this game on the Braum has been very, very good at playing that frontline tank duty. He's not blowing summoners easily. WE are throwing a lot of engage into him. You know, WE probably shouldn't be engaging on the Braum, but missing is making it very hard for them to get value out of it, even when they do.
Now, Wukong having just cleared up an entire quadrant, now managed to pick up a Black Cleaver off the back end of it all. Let's have a look again, because it looks like for a second there, Arla's got an angle. Got a Shun coming on up, but he's just not respectful of the fact that Arla misses timing out, and Karis can just ult forward with the charm.
No, Karis managed to... Oh, is it the hitbox? Oh, it's the hitbox snipe! That is such a rare interaction with Ahri. I've only pulled it off myself a handful of times in important games. He manages to hit the character who is actually stood behind the minion, but because their hitbox is larger than they appear, you can occasionally snipe someone from behind a minion if they're stood close enough to it. Dragon now started up. Karis, nice mechanic, despite the fact that doesn't lead to, sadly, the most winning play afterwards.
So what's the idea of that? Do you aim to one side of the minion?
So no. So I can show you a little bit in diagram. And I apologize to people who don't want to see this and stuff like that on it. The turret's going to go down. In fact, we'll do it when there's a bit more free time after, because there is the after time and stuff. But basically, minions are quite small, champions are quite big. So even though graphically it looks like a champion is stood behind a minion, their hitbox is slightly in front of it, just the edge of it. So it can connect with that part instead, even though it looks like they are safe behind it. Turret will go down for WE. They do have 3 grubs, so the Atacon goes down. They take the mid lane out of turret.
The angle, Shun keep ordering away that Atacon, goes on down. Hitbox 9 complete. This TP, is he going to get there in time? It will turn up. Now what about the fight after? Also here, Winter's Bite goes wide, Monkey will Warrior Trickster over the wall.
WE happy with that trade. They get 2 good towers and inner turret's worth of gold as well. You need to stop punching the microphone. This is like a daily occurrence, Sam.
No, it's not the microphone. It's the
pop shield. I'm aware, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, this microphone is given its given its entire existence over to making sure that we can be heard loud and clear across the internet, Sam.
It's in the blind spot of my opinion.
Teemo QIRL. Shouldn't be stealing away that red buff. Karis, only a level up on him actually. Can potentially look for a charm hit.
Waiting for it, sure. It's quite deep here. Dodges a fair amount. Flashes over the wall. Karis can now ult over, lands the charm. Pressing guard still available. Okay, you remember with the ult. Can look to come on in, but Pays now around it.
Karis has no ult now.
He can't be there. Flash over. Gets hit by a 3 talent strike. It was all a ruse.
and the Fox Girl is put in the deck.
I mean, my dude, you have 4 dashes, and you've used all of them going forwards. You have nothing to go back. Monkey going forwards is the engage.
He's now in danger, gets knocked up and will not go down. Stays alive. And Missing gets huge value. May well die here as Cube looking very threatening. Shove with the Crescent Guard though, getting a lot of value as Monkey. Hit up with that Braum passive for Winter's Fight. The concussive blows stack up. One Cube now in danger with Taeyu trying to back away as the Unbreakable comes in. But what the hell does Taeyu do there? Aside from eat Braum's present. Pei's still alive. Realm Warp.
It'll close him down. Does he have another counter-strike? If he does, but it doesn't matter. Stand behind Braum. Missing keeps Pei's alive. The heart is the strongest muscle, but only just behind that is the arm holding the shield of Braum. Missing, insane value. My MVP from this game by far. Welcome back, Missing. It's been a while since I've seen a performance like this from him.
I'm hoping we get the replay because he did so much work.
I'm sorry. Like, sometimes Braum is a boring champion to watch. Yes, there's the overdive from Karis coming through, but what I'm really interested in is seeing how much goddamn peel Missing gets onto Pei's, who is cycloned up. That should be instant death. Karis dies, sure, that's one thing. Watch how Missing plays this fight afterwards. Jumps in, does Monkey onto Pei's as he goes forward, but the shield and the heal, we don't even get to see it. That's so sad, but he's going forward anyway, getting himself some more kill participation.
Page gets another kill, makes it a double, feels a little bit vindicated after the early game, finally has 2 items and feels a lot happier about life. They lost the last dragon, of course, but they're still in a position where Soul Point will be up in a couple minutes. They can look to shove on in here.
I mean, he's 1.5k up on his opposing number. Vampire has 1 assist in this game, 25 minutes in. Vampire's had a hard time of it. This has been, amongst other things, it has been a huge support diff. The Nautilus into the Braum is hard, but Nautilus, you know, a couple of times around that Herald fight earlier, you wonder whether there was some early advantages that W could have taken advantage of. Scouts maybe looking for a realm up somewhere. Karis pushing up mid lane to try and give some pressure. Of course, Baron's not even spawned just yet. Karis on a long flank will be spotted soon.
Worry about some of the CS numbers as well. Check the Gwen, check the Lucian. They'd be getting a lot more farm than I think their opposite numbers have been. Tier 2 just falls, becomes lightning onto Karis, now in danger. Monkey does right step for the scout who go golden. Buys a lot of time.
Great Braum.
And then again, the glacial fidget comes on down and Vampire staked once more. Flash over from Scout, gets the Rupers and Karis now in danger. And Ala snips him in half. Cube needs to run away as well. Can't go anywhere. It's on the ice off. On the Jax, rather. He's running away from the dangerous charge. Prevents him from backing up. Will get the counter strike down. It's supposed to be a good matchup for the Jax into the Xin Zhao. But Shun is having none of it. Out comes the Grandmaster's might, trying to find some angle here, but he can empower all he wants. It's not going to mean all that much as Shun keep winning the 1v1 with the top lane. Gets hit by the counter strike. Begins to turn it around for 3. Talent strike. And he's out for the count.
He's 2 levels up on the enemy top laner. Shun, a much better game compared to the first one. 5-0-9 and 2,000 gold up over arguably the most important player on WE in Monkey. Game 1 was a great team fighting affair from WE. In Game 2, dare I say it, they've had 1 team fight around Herald this game and the rest of it has just fallen apart. They've fallen apart across all roles. You know, Karis going too far forwards, Cube not judging the 1v1s effectively, Monkey left alone to dive into the backline without much help because Vampire is losing HP before he can pull the trigger. JDG, role for role, outperforming in Game 2. Big turnaround from Game 1.
You know, for all that I'm with you on the Missing MVP, I could absolutely see a world where it's Shun that ends up getting it after that counter gank topside, punishing the low health Cube and Monkey coming to try and shove that wave and getting those 2 kills on the Gwen. Like, everything snowballs from there, and it's just happened everywhere you care to look. The least impact roles have been mid lane, it feels like. They've not really been a part of a lot of this. It's been about the various side lanes.
Yeah, no, Karis, if he'd managed to join a dive onto Pei's at some point, maybe things could have gone differently. Shut down that Lucian and hope that you can get away from the Gwen on the other side of the team fight. Baron now started doubly walking over. They don't have Flash and Monkey to get him in range. That's just gone. Baron down, no contest. Dragon up on the for the taking as well. WE not even choosing to rush that on the other side. JDG getting everything.
They don't even lose any HP because of Braum Shield, by the way. They're all basically back at full HP, which makes this very scary indeed. JDG's be a bit wary about a flank angle here. WE for it.
But even then, like, there's a heal and exhaust on Missing. They jump forwards again, and, you know, Missing's in position. You exhaust the Wukong going in. Yeah, look, they're going for a big old flank angle. They've prepared the top lane already, though. They'll take the turret. WE too slow to that. They might still go for a fight, but how do you get through Missing in the big old shield?
Charm goes wide, and JDG well aware of potential flank angle and stay long ways away from it. Now with the Nexus turrets, they're just going to take them. What are you going to do, W? You've got to pull the trigger soon.
Vampire on a long fight, but all he's done is got a sightseeing trick.
And he hits the Braum again, who just does not give a damn. Glacial Fissure comes on down. Vampire is dead. Nymaera has his head in his hands, and I cannot blame him. We'll get the clone out briefly. Flash on from Paris, who gets a hit by the bloody shield again. Braum is a wall, and they cannot find the ladders, the sappers, the towers to climb on over it. You need siege weapons, and all you've got is sticks and stones, and they break WE's bones. It's 1-1 in the series.
Back in my day, we had a stick and a rock for the whole platoon, and we had to share the rock. And don't worry, I'm sure Gage, very good versus the Sylas, because the Sylas doesn't give you that best ultimate. They choose the Aurora instead, a little more mobile, a little more self-sufficient. I personally would have preferred to see the Annie, but maybe this is based on lane matchup. Perhaps Scout is happier playing the Aurora into the Sylas.
So JDG got themselves double AD carry plus AP plus frontline. Try and really aggressively play for WE. They're looking for resets. Use Senna and Sylas to blow someone up from Monkey to then bounce around in their body. Has to be the decision. Of course, you've got the Yorick wing condition as well, with a bit of a global behind it, so that can obviously give you an additional angle in the game.
Yeah, another good point by raised in chat as well, by Vendetta, saying, look, this is a 4 melee comp from WE into Xayah.
Yeah.
Typically, WE have been using it well too. WE have to play against it now, and we'll see what the Gyro sound like on the Rift.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
What a voice. Cube might end up face checking someone he probably shouldn't do here. As Monkey and Cube look for the invade. Kindred obviously tends to start the Wolf's Frenzy, so doesn't have the Q up quite yet, has yet to level anything. We'll need to reset. If Monkey lands his Q over the wall, Kindred is going to be so annoyed. Has to have an idea. Oh, Shern is actually dead. That's unfortunate.
Why would you recall there? Monkey will live through this as well with his first reset. JDG, not exactly sure what you're doing. Like, leaving your Kindred out to dry like that. There is a ward now into the jungle. I suppose Shun is not going to be delayed on his first camp, and Monkey will start at half HP, but I'm not exactly sure much is going to change outside of that. Shun, left out to the wolves, which is ironic.
Just a touch. Thought he was going to be able to get the reset off, but they bait it well. He wanted to get that reset off and get back to base. We didn't want to cancel it and go somewhere safer. He wanted to get back out on the Rift, and we'll start on the other side of the map, having given over that kill. Didn't blow any summoners at the very least, but still very awkward there at the level 1 from the Kindred.
Harris starting with the E. Dodges out on that Q, actually. Nice from him. It's hard to trade into that at the level 1 E to Q start. Jim will start on his camps now. The WE, given a good opportunity, we're saying that the draft is good from JDG. Getting early advantages can smooth over those kind of difficulties, though.
Play that up. Outside, Taeyun gets an auto off with the railgun. That's about it. It is a really cool set.
Yeah, no, it's just Vampire walking up in the brush there. Was a chance of an extra seal of Daybreak and rushing towards that level 2. Like this, goes for that Zenith play. Don't land onto Pace, though, and the W misses.
Nearly lands that last embrace. Doesn't quite. As a result, JDG gets to walk away. They do burn the heal for that, though. Worth noting.
Summoner down. Scout trading well in the mid lane. Reminder that he chose to go towards the Aurora instead of something like the Annie, which provides a bit more utility to the team. This is more self-sufficiency, right? You have a lot more mobility. You're better in side lanes. Jun about on pace with Monkey now. No, look, the camp behind actually. Just as we see that, we'll have to see whether Shun can recover from giving that early kill after Monkey. Monkey hasn't recalled yet, so hasn't actually used that gold, though, importantly.
He has not. Kindred going to wait and see which side of the map the Skull Crab spawns on. Actually, leave a couple of those camps up to try and cheat the recall timers. Has he marked the side of Cube yet? No, he is not.
No, he's marked a jungle because he wants to play the mind game and say, you think I'm going to go towards the... Diego, this is going to be flash blown at best, I think.
Yeah, there is the flash. Flash for the decimating smash, and they actually get it off. Cube now in danger. Get the last right healing. Oh, there's in danger, and Shun has to back away.
I was just saying, the best you get is a flash there. You don't have any components or items yet. You can't make that kind of play. An overforce potentially should have just been the flash and out. Monkey now going towards mid lane.
Wants to get a hold of this. The mark is topside. Cube coming on down. Shun healing up, does get that smite. He's going to have a Q up again shortly with the damage arrows. Been inside the Wolf Frenzy. Needs to get up the wall.
Gets hit.
And the flash gets hit.
Flashes and gets hit by the Spectral Maw anyway. Monkey hops over the wall and will steal the camps away. Awful early game from Shun.
Oh, Vampire now in danger as he will at least go 1-for-1. Kay's going to try and trade out as Vampire's
He is the danger.
Is he going to try and turn this around, but he's now got more feathers to work with. Vampire out of cooldowns, in danger. He needs to get some value. The feather call comes on through. Waiting out with that sweeper to prevent the easy autos coming on through from Pace.
A really poor early game from Shun now. 0-2, overforcing the top lane, gets the scuttle, but flashes poorly away from the Viego, still getting hit by the CC. Shun was a lot of the reason why JDG was succeeding in Group Ascend, but now on their downswing, he's a lot of the reason why he's failing with this team. Will get the double scuttle at least and get a second mark off of that plate, but it won't recover the fact that the Viego is much more fed than he should be. Going back to a replay in the 2v2 now, where Paze managed to pick up a kill. It's another Zenith plate, instead of a carnival of things. A really good E into W afterwards from missing to threaten Taeyun. They can't really focus their damage down to any one target. It means that even though the initial damage looks like it's good for WE, kill goes over to Paze and they can't quite really get the value out of the setup.
Here's this play again. Shun thinks he's in the Wolf Frenzy, will get a second dance of arrows up and he'll be fine, but flashes and Monkey still hits him.
He gets the reaction time, right? Just the wrong direction. He could have flashed over the wall at that point. He was close enough. Going down for that second kill, down a decent amount of CS, kill and assist over towards Monkey. Shun losing out of the jungle matchup.
Didn't actually get that mark off that top side skull crab, because obviously I think it spawned on the other side. And so
right. Because, yes, okay, cool.
pretty sure. I understand why he was fighting for the Scuttle Crab. Ends up being a little awkward there, but does end up getting a mark at least. It could be worse, but this is not what you want from a Kindred. I remember chatting to some pros and basically saying, look, if you're a Kindred, your most important thing is don't die early. It's like,
yeah, well,
step one.
Exactly. And that's the case for many carries, actually, especially for stuff like ranged top lane. A Scout does have Flash, goes to E, misses, goes onto a minion instead.
Back away by going across the Veil. Comes back out on the other side, unscathed. Top side, Pays and missing, getting some shove up, and that might be the win con here in his own right. They are doing very well in this lane early on.
Yeah, if they can stomp down on this 2v2, definitely removes a lot of the power from WE. Shun around this top side, just make sure it's a safe crash. And Shun not taking his red buff, by the way. Did he think that Monkey had taken it already? He was still up on his side of the map, foregoing that camp.
I think he's just trying to keep his camps on a decent timer, I guess. Looking for more plays necessarily than camps, which he can do on the Kindred early to try and just start stacking those marks early as he can. He's got Leona marks.
Leona marks. Sion ulting in. There's no flash on Taeyun.
Vampire tanks it up, and now he's going to get hit by the Wolf Frenzy and the Mounting Dread. And it is a snap away from Shun, who gets the kill and a second mark.
So that mark's nice, and I think right there, I almost wonder if it is less valuable to have the Leona die because of that mark going over. Against this kind of quad melee team, the fourth mark from Kindred is a game changer. Against other ranged champions, often the range feels a little moot because you're still outranged.
Yeah.
Against melees, you outrange even harder, and that does feel very obnoxious trying to gap close against the 4 mark Kindred.
Kindred's going to reset, look to buy some items here. It's down a few hundred gold. The second mark makes a lot of difference. Picks up the early fade, so likely going towards the Trinity Force first, I would assume. I don't think it'll be a Black Cleaver first item somehow, so that'll be Arla now needing to run away a little bit.
Has no flash, has no wall. He actually can die here.
The last embrace, Zenith Blade, Shield, Daybreak comes on down. The Soul Furnace is fine some time. Arla very tanky here, and Taeyun just doesn't have enough in the tank yet.
Needs to be a little afraid now of Monkey roaming up river and causing issues, so he'll have to back off. That'll be potential opening to W towards to get a topside plate. Worth noting, by the way, Shun is a full level down this early on onto Monkey. Still, he's been giving up a lot of camps. He's not taken his red buff into this game, by the way. Still not taken his first red buff of the game, maybe assuming that Monkey had taken it. Shun really misreading the early jungle pathing. JDG as a team maybe not doing the best to scout things out, much like in the first 2 games, which we called out in other games in the series, but Shun getting this far behind, it is an issue.
He's going to get 6 off this camp, which is alright in the end of the world. Still has a full quadrant to clear. He's a little bit behind on that front, and unfortunately for him, couldn't get over towards that Skull Crab, which would have been a 3rd mark from topside.
I mean, yes, but just the base stats of level 5 to level 6 is a really big difference.
Yeah.
The gold is okay, but you can't afford to be losing out on an extra, you know, how many health it is per level, how many armor it is, and magic resist per level and stuff like that too. Still not chosen to get a grub up. Has he just not checked it? Does he not know it's up? Grub's now started. Presumably they just think it's down.
Yeah, after the early levels, I wonder whether after he died they thought that the red buff would have been started up.
Kara's still in that quick. That's really big ultimate for him to steal as an engaging tool. Vampire does have flash back up, and if you get on towards that Kindred, they are a lot easier to kill at this point than they should be.
The last embrace will ult to immune it. They don't hit one of the clubs, and Shun flashes away, looking to find a good angle to
put down a Lamb's fight required. Carousel with the quickness as Arla forced away by Cube, makes things tricky. Grub number 2 secured by WE. The fight can now commence over the last one. Bit of a route there onto Missing, who's not going to get a chance to put his own quickness down. As Carousel's a lot of work between worlds. Monkey into the backside. Will be forced to back away as the feathers go down. Paige now in danger, needs to pull the feathers. Does get a good route, but what about the turnaround damage? Still got the Lamb's fight to work with. Each Carrot survives. 10% HP if that.
So WE, very threatening fight there. I actually think they probably wanted more than one kill. They were in a very strong position given that the Kindred is just not a factor right now. And Arla was out of position, ulted away, and meant that JDG didn't have a front line. WE do get 2 grubs, they get 1 kill. But even with that, I still somehow think that JDG are somewhat saved a little bit here. Now, Arla's trying to walk up to hold a choke point, finds Taeyeon, and Arla has to ult through the last embrace, and then of course walks into Cube. Gets out just using the flash though, so at least he's felt a bit of time.
Of course, then we get this interesting play. Well, of course, Karis still got the stolen quickness and Missing. CC'd into absolute death.
He walks up to melee range of a Q. Q now 1v2 on top side.
Shun, and therefore Shun gets that kill. Nice pick up for him. Not a mark or anything, but he'll take the extra kill, and that's good value for the Kindred.
He finally took his red buff, by the way. He's finally taken it. He's climbed up a little bit more in terms of XP now, only half the level difference between him and Monkey. But as we were saying, though, that 4 mark is really important to see how quickly Shun can get it. Not actually sure whether Shun remarked someone else. I just saw it.
Diego.
Yes, yeah. I saw it being applied to him, but I didn't know whether he tried to mark Q before that play topside. He will spot out Monkey just take this, but not able to stop him doing anything about it.
Vampire still at level 5. Missing has got level 6. Could potentially look for something interesting here, but I think that level of discrepancy not going to really lead to all that much. I don't think Vampire can be 4 of 6 himself. In fact, there it is, off that wave. So, as the Solar's left off and running.
A little bit down in the XP, a bit worried there. Of course, the CV2 largely going very well for JDG. Not going to hit through the invisibility there. Scouts doing a good job of staying safe in this lane. Not able to impact game as well as Karis so far early. And once again, we talk about, oh, you know, draft good for XYZ side. Blue side is somehow creeping ahead. Once again, Vampire Missing will find each other in this brush. Missing not able to walk up and take it.
Win worlds we go. Scout eats the stolen one.
It's called Wave.
Karis will then eat a weirding in response.
Yeah, Karis like, I just went out of this. I'll steal their ultimate. Sure, that's a minion wave gone. We do occasionally see that. Dragon now up in 30 seconds. The ult stolen by Karis allows him to reset and come back in time for the fight in 30 seconds.
Shun has actually gotten the Trinity Force now, so actually in a position where he can probably play around this dragon pretty aggressively should he so wish. Rise on it.
No, well, he's only on 2 marks, not in a situation where he can get that 4th one midway through the fight. Puts that W down, uses it for a bit of poke. It can be surprisingly good poke, by the way. Applies the Scorch Wall and he does take 2 damage. He does hit this time. This is after the teleporter come back in from Scouts as well.
Nice, turn it back and he gets some healing back with the pot, with the passive, so should be back up to 3/4 okay-ish here. This is the weirding there.
Close. Spots him with the sweeper. Shin can start doing some damage towards the Hex Tech Dragon now. Second one spawned up. Karis can't steal an ultimate for the next, I'd say, 15 seconds or so. Might be able to do it if ZW delay the fight.
To the other side here. I don't know whether you can go that way, Shun. Be a little wary.
Yeah.
Trying to body block for any potential monkey angles, I guess.
You know they're in that brush. They do now.
Between worlds to go. Dawning Shadow comes on down for the Lamb's respite. Keeps Monkey and people alive. Missing, doing his very best. The knock battle is good. Oh, it's phenomenal. Shun died, but I think he's happy. The respite was well earned. And WE fall apart as JDG are all ready to punish.
Which one of you doubted the Kindred? Shun the non-believer got the ultimate just in time. Vampire will die too. Missing doing a great job with the triple knockup out of the Lamb's respite. Vampire will eventually die. He'll try and Hex Flash away, but he can't manage it. JDG, huge fight. That turns the game much back more into their favor.
Can Q get this turret topside? That would be pretty significant. Would love to pick it up, but it's turned around. Forced to flash out as the Decimating Smash came on through. He's actually now potentially in a lot of danger. Can't quite get that turret. Yeah. I got what he was looking for, but the force right did interrupt stuff.
No, Arla very close to getting a solo kill there. Just overcharged his Q a little bit, allowing that flash out. Missing could potentially look for a dive on here. There's no flash. Okay, no, do you think? All right. Enough damage being used. WE failing that last play is huge. Absolutely huge. Because not only is that them failing to get the kills, they also use the big Senna ult, and Shun gets himself a third mark. If he gets another steal now onto the Raptors, there's a chance of a fourth mark. Karis is walking up just to ward him off of that, actually. But Shun now much more back into the game than he had any right to be. Almost level in XP as well.
Maybe look mid lane here. We'll have a look at this replay because it is a very tight run thing.
I mean, they're trying to get the quick reset. If that W gone onto Scouts instead, wonder whether it would have been different. The Lamb's Respite, godlike. This is the kind of player you dream as a player. Triple knockup out of the end of it, so they can't just immediately execute someone and use reset. Pays uses his ultimate, get a bunch of feathers down early. Wonderful response from JDG. Just much better reaction time in the fights.
So it was one of those instincts, the Lamb's Respite, you stack 2 stacks for your Mounting Dread and then wait for the third one once your ult time's out to the big frog. Same sort of deal. It's always the answer until it's about to time out.
Karis had a very good trade there onto Scout to steal another cooldown with a double Q hitting. This is a kill angle, and it forces Scout to say, right, I'm going to pop the ult for wave clear. Has the Malignance, is less of a loss for him because of that. But Karis doing well as making sure that he could force that out.
Shun is now top side. Monkey snap his rev buff. Going to get the slow. The Mountain Rev beginning to stack. Going to get some damn down flash on out. Dark Session comes on down. Also, the Dawning Shadow. Cube in danger. Knocked up by that decimating smash. And Shun gets another.
Again, Shun not marking the Silas. He's playing mind games with his stack, saying, I'm going to be ganking the Silas side of the map. Turns up on the other one instead. It means he's getting less opportunities to get those stacks, but he's less expected when he does turn up to places. Herald is now spawned. Shun has his ultimate again, by the way. So, very good ability to, counteract that quadruple melee from diving into them. Replay around it, as we were saying, particularly got something like Scion charging up the Q tools. We haven't seen that interaction yet, but if you try and play around, it can be very dangerous. They'll be sticking around, but I don't think they can really contest.
Not very freely. Shun is about to realise that he no longer has a red buff, and that was nabbed away. He'd be very sad about these things. He'll look to reset himself. I'm assuming we'll have the majority of a Black Cleaver on the way here as a result.
Slash over, can't find out. Yeah, you need that extra attack speed, really. You need some attack speed in the build. The Triforce gives you some, but then Kraken Slayer, which is basically not an item on anyone else, surprisingly still quite good on the Kindred.
Also on the Viego, actually, as well, worth noting, Monkey's gone for that option. It does have a few options, does Viego, depending on how he wants to play, but has gone for that attack speed.
Good trade there from Scout. How's the ultimate back up? How's the Malignance? Might force a flash through here. Gets it on there, hops over.
Forces a flash at the very least. Vampire now coming. Will not find who he was looking for. A little ironic.
And this mark is there. If they can get the smite hit there, you got Mark 4. That's it. They finally managed to get themselves access to that jungle camp. Well played from Pays, because a lot of the time teammates just don't realize that they should be participating in the steals.
Please, guys.
Pays walking over as such a fed Xayah helps Shun get to Mark 4, and that extra 75 range increase at the first 4 does give you a massive ability to play against the anti-melee.
Be very annoying for sure. Okay, so we're looking for a couple autos there over the wall. We'll get that much value. The Senna just stacking away. 47 stacks at 16 minutes. It is whatever. It's not too bad. Again, we sort of see 60 by 20 at the minute with this particular variant of farming Senna. Is the average we have seen. G. Looking around the enemy river. Not quite find it. Vampire now looking. Solar Flare. A little shy.
Oh, this is dangerous now. This is dangerous.
He goes with the Zenith Weapon. There comes the quick. Stolen as well, though, by Karen. Also, in comes Arla with the TP. Could look for an angle. Doesn't find it that well. Karis backs out alive, and everyone doesn't die.
Surprised that JDG couldn't find a big turner. Hang on a second, Missy. You've got to be careful there. Forcing the out of Karis. There's Dragon, of course, available. Q hitting from Missing gives him a lot of HP back. You need to keep an eye on that W. If you give him another one, he can fight much more effectively again.
To play this one out, Shun now looking to threaten Monkey in the back of the pit. Is inside the harrowed path.
Oh,
Missing is in danger. Does get back on out. Karis looks the kill and does get it. That's a lot of reset damage. Scout flashing on over the wall, gets out alive as Monkey looks to the ultimate quite find it. Shun also threatens Cube, forces him to flash between worlds. Goes Scout, stays alive, but I think JDG have overplayed this fight. Monkey looking to reset.
No!
Does it. The last fight is too late. And there's nothing to be done as Arla falls as well. The Scion becomes a zombie. And the Cranberries had the ride of it. There's nothing left in the head.
JDG overplay after losing the initial chunk. You didn't have to die for this dragon. They try and outplay, and Shun from one mega ultimate gets an absolute stinker right afterwards in his next cast of it. Shun not able to outvalue, particularly Karis in that last fight. The Silas very, very impactful, and JDG giving way too much room for him to play.
try and collapse. They saw Shun walking over here. They're going to try and stop him on this steal. He's trying to get the smite down. Can't quite get hit by the last embrace. Do they want to keep chasing? I think they might. Can't quite get there in time. And Shun still has a dance of arrows, and Karis might have to turn this one around. Actually, might be marked by this Kindred. This might be too far. Does manage to get out with a stolen between worlds.
I know, Scout was roaming over, but JDG lose their minds a little bit. Vampire now stopped on the recall. That could be a bit of an issue. He has no flash. Is anyone coming over? There's the Viego.
Look to play this one out. Vampire lands his Zenith Blade. Shun now on Blasco. Gets pulled away. Soul Flare comes on down, but overcomes Scout as well. Missing Golo. Will battle dance out to safety. Has got some honey fruit potentially if he needs it. TP behind. We're going to continue this play. This is all over. An attempted take of the mark on Wolves, by the way, guys. This is what this has led to. Welcome to Kindred minigames as Cube gets the kill on the Rakan. Karis with the rocket belt into the abduct. Onto Scout, who will go down the Petricide first. Bring down the bunny at the knees.
Now JDG are the ones panicking. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They lose out on the Kindred minigame there. And now suddenly Monkey 1,000 gold ahead of Shun despite some of his good plays earlier into the game. WE dancing in the chaotic rhythm much better than JDG, particularly because they have multiple people who can start up plays, like Monkey, like Karis. Missing here goes way too deep, flashes into the quickness too to take another chunk of damage from Karis. A poorly played fight from Missing, giving over a quick reset. Of course, resets are the be-all and end-all of the Viego. He's trying to step out away from the skill shot as best he could, but realistically, what can you do after your support is going to dive and give him the reset over so easily like that?
And afterwards, there was that whole kerfuffle in the enemy jungle. Either way, Monkey now 4-1-4 on this Viego. Got himself a Sundered Sky after the Kraken's Lair. A lot of ability to cycle through those autos, get that passive healing off. In the extended plays, a lot of work to things like Sion. Quite annoying to manage, shouldn't they? Still pretty scary here. Summons the Herald with the rest of the squad looking to get a charge on in here. I heard Sion ulting on in somewhere, but it's obviously a stolen Unstoppable Forces.
Oh,
no, he missed the ult! He missed the tower!
No, he wanted to get out. He wanted to leave. Can't do so, and instead will die after some poor driving through the enemy jungle.
And he didn't hit the turret.
I think he decided, if I hit the turret, I'm dead. I've got to escape. And then just dies anyway. Huge mistake. Doesn't get the tower and dies.
Lamau LT in Chuckways. Yeah, that's kind of my vibe as well. Missing had a wonderful game too. This one has been a bit harder on the Rakan, I think it has to be said.
Yeah, 0 and 5. It's giving over so many extra resets over to Monkey, and what should have been a very successful draft, I think, from JDG, falling very far behind now, and JDG cannot afford to be giving over easy kills like that.
Because the skirmishing from W is very potent in this game. When you're Silas, when you're Leona, when your Viego's ahead of the curve, those 3v3s get quite tricky. Cube, all the while, the other win condition with full grubs to his name, takes a tier 2, forcing the fight around this Atakan. Here we go again.
So the York's not going to be here, Ala is, so JDG can actually use this as a leash. W may be cooking a little too hard in the macro.
Works, TP's available, that's the Atakan taken. Look at the wild though, the mini-map, Yorick is pushing, TP towards the turret.
Yeah, I think JDG realized, look, we're not really going to be able to stop him from split pushing, even if we send someone down. Let's get the Atakan with that turret. Carrot's jumping into a Scout Haze.
Missing's still here, quickness available, and we'll get knocked up when we get to the wall. Shut down goes the way of Haze.
And that's going to give an opening to JDG to get the top lane turret as well. WE, overcooking in terms of the macro. They think, oh, we can do the Atakan and we can get the bot lane turret, but no teleport on Yorick means that a large part of their gold is not available for the top side, and JDG take Atakan and of course a kill and the turret.
Shut down onto Pays as well in terms of picking that gold up from the Silas to clarify that statement. That's a big deal. He's now at 2.5 items, is 1,200 gold, and he is a win condition in this game. We already said, yo, I don't know how easy it's going to be to dive into Azaya with everything else to keep her alive, and that is still very true.
It gets a lot easier when Monkey gets a Rakan reset or something like that. Karis has typically been playing very well, actually. He's been opening up extra angles, forcing the ultimate very easily from Missing. Dragon's now up in a minute. Pays will have everything available, and he's almost towards 3 items as well. 1,000 gold up on Taeyeon. He's got a much cheaper item, but yes, he's stacking decently well, almost towards that 70 mark. The 81, of course, the next range increase. JDG, you cannot afford to get out team fought like you did the last one, though. I think you have one last team fight in you from this kind of gold lead. If you lose this one, I think WE sweep it.
That will be tricky to manage. We are pretty much fully locked and loaded. The only summoner spell down coming into this fight is Ala's TP. That is it. Everyone else has ults, has items, has summoners. Brace for impact, folks. There is a lot of tools to use.
Yeah, that Taeyeon gets a chunk onto Ace with just that single Cupid where it goes onto Shun too. Shun, who's he marked up the Silas. Doesn't really matter for this fight too much. Dragon spawn now. Yorick in top side has that teleport. Scout is there because he's the one with the teleport.
Monkey hiding around in the Harrowed path will turn up onto the speed shrine as that times out. Dragon start.
So double carry stacked up on each other. W lands. Vampire going in.
Finds some value. Golden Shadow comes on through, but I think he's got a bit deep. The Tentacle, though, you potentially dangerous now as they need to back away. Pace backs away. Prevents the easy engage.
Wonderful from Pace.
Pace finds it. A wonderful angle. Stays alive as Monkey goes looking too. Pace breaks every angle available.
That is why Paze was on my MVP shortlist for JDG. He solo carries that fight, baiting in the engage, getting the feather pulled back onto Karis, who's looking for a reset. And yes, there is going to be another turret given over, but JDG get 2 good kills, and they end up getting themselves the dragon as well. Scout jumping over. Arlen's coming up. They could look for a kill here.
Buying some time. The maiden just out of range. Can't keep autoing. Goes it, loses vision. They're going to flash on form. It's the twofold hex still looking for auto. Gets the weirding down. Slow onto Cube now with the Leandries. The Malignant's ticking. Arla comes on up to look to begin to roar like the Slayer he is. Flash away from Cube. Decimating smash land. TP's beginning to fly. They need to think about backing away. Over they come. Shun missing. Waiting on it. Karis now in danger. Arla body blocks the abduction. Scout needs to be wary. Hit by the chain line.
No,
Down.
again!
The Lambrus fight is late. And that means the solo lanes both die.
Shun's ultimate could have turned that play. Honestly, I think that Arla should have been able to kill Cube anyway. The early flash from the Yorick should have killed him. JDG messing up what should have been a simple kill on that top side. Paze on the bot side of the map too was not able to join. JDG punished for misexecution and sloppy macro. On the other side, Karis, good kill there to make sure that Shun was forced to react, which he failed.
The margins with which you play Kindred are often very narrow, and that one was on the wrong side of life and death.
Look, sometimes you're sat there as someone who's neutral, hang on, missing, gonna jump into multiple E's, it's dead.
Trying to contest this, one missing goes down. Shun trying to get some value out, but he's being body blocked by that maiden. Karis left a little low by this Baron. I just don't think they can fight.
That's going to be Baron down. Missing looked to see if they would be a little greedy. They were not. They get that easy kill. I mean, real credit to WE. Their skirmishing is better than JDG. I think the Silas being so far ahead, having the ability to follow up with the global or the center has really helped them on the whole. And the other side of it is Shun is behind in gold. And besides that one fantastic ultimate earlier in the game, has really, really messed up with some of these Lamb's Respites, which could have turned some of these later skirmishes. JDG need more from that ultimate button of Shun.
Monkey's getting alarmingly close to a GA here, and suddenly that Viego gets a lot harder to stop on the ingress. No arm guard quite yet for Karis. I think he's looking at it going, please, I need the stasis to buy some time on the flanks. Quite there yet. The boots come on through. Third item for this Yorick, who is 3 items deep and nearly 4k up, actually. Yeah, that's kind of nasty.
So JDG, I mean, Paze doesn't have his summoners this time. I think it's much easier to play when Paze, who I think is, no, he's got 2,000 gold in the advantage, but also he's been playing very, very well. If he has all summoners, I think JDG can win fights. Besides that, I just don't think the other members of JDG are playing well enough for them to win team fights.
All messed up Lamb's Respite, problematic, missing, kind of often been the sacrificial lamb as the sole face checker when Arla's not around. Been punished accordingly.
Well, now Cube is at the point where he can actually start threatening inhibitor turrets, which is a bigger problem for JDG. You can give us some inner turrets and say that's gold, we'll get the dragon value outside of that.
I wondered about it. He's going to look now. Won't find too much aside from the abscond. And Arla trading with Cube now. Ults as well. There could be a potential angle here. There's no TPs to respond this time. I think that's just a dead Yorick.
It's going to take a little bit of HP with him. Good shutdown. No dragon starts on the other side. It's not up yet. Karis pushing the mid lane turret, but not able to finish it.
Decent job. Minute and a half from that dragon. That will probably prevent too much more here for a second or two. Not bad from
good.
JDG.
That was nice. Some good extra follow-up damage, and it means that Cube not going to be available for some of the setup here. Shun going to walk forwards on 5 marks. Some decent damage on the Karis. Also no flash. JDG with this momentary advantage, even against the Baron buff, can actually open up the mid lane turret on their own. A decent rebuttal from that.
Enjoy it. Need to enjoy some toast for breakfast, apparently. Read the chat, you'll understand. But that's fine. Minute a sec until Dragon. That was the sole point either team. Mark still on the Kindred, looking to stack towards. Looks like it'll be a late collector here.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
Don't get me wrong, it's not bad into people like the Viego, the Silas, sort of the Senna in terms of managing people like the low health bars, but I think at this point the Lord Doms.
No, I mean, honestly, if there's the maths basically says, and this applies to almost all champions in almost all games, if you're not building collector first item, don't build it. You should be going towards Lord Doms and at least future-proofing your build a little bit here. There's a Thornmail being built up in Vampire. That'd be important too. Skull Crab now claimed for WE, clear out some of those walls. Dragon in 30 seconds. JDG managed to reset. Only 3k behind now. We're closer to 5k before Karis doesn't have Flash.
Maybe looking for one overall. Can't quite do it. Dragon, 20 seconds. It is JDG in the river first.
Missing walking forwards, trying to put down some extra vision. Monkey puts down a control ward in response. Missing 1 and 6 right now. We talked big about his Rakan just before this. He's struggled to deliver on that. Cube on a side lane, pushing in that top side. Once again, forcing JDG into a macro decision. Are going to clear. We'll have teleport to join the fight.
If you do damage, if you don't. Taeyun, about 3 stacks of 100 on this center as well. It's not really been about the center this game, but with 3 items and a lot of stacks, it can be scary. Dragon taken though, while that posture in the mid lane happens. TP now coming on in from the Yorick. Very late though. Can they catch JDG on the retreat? That has to be the play. TP in response from Arla, buying some time. And WE fail the cross.
Yeah, they don't stick in topside. They teleport the Yorick down and don't find a fight. They don't have the Baron buff anymore. Karis does have an ultimate to fight in the choke point though.
Arla also walking up, start preparing the Soul Furnace, buys a moment, gets some damage on the character, goes gold. Quickness from missing is pretty solid. Does get that time, needs to battle downtown. Damage on Silas, who's dead. Could look to turn it around as Kelshun begins to auto away. Geo from Monkey goes golden, takes away that soul of the Ricard. Looking to reset. Scout flashes away from the Spectral Maw. Should run away out against Taeyun, who's inside the blurs of the Black Mist. Now Lampress buys some time. Cube in danger. Tries to get some value, can't quite do it. Monkey comes on in and shuts the buy. But Taze gets him. Taeyun's range though is horrifying. Look at that Senna go. Needs to come out of the across the veil. That's the one. Finally found the word. And Scout stays alive. Shun picks up the collector, but Taeyun, oh my god, the range.
Pays flashing to kill Monkey, I think saves the back end of that team fight. WE, they fail to get the Dragon, they fail the fight afterwards, and they don't get the inhibitor topside either. They had a lot to gain from that play, and they don't walk away with that much. JDG getting a much better scenario than I thought they would really do at that point. Karis using the ultimate onto the choke point, gets some decent damage down onto 3-4 people. See that Taeyun is actually caught just hitting the Scion for a lot of this fight, whereas Pays is actually hitting the meat and potatoes of the team fight, getting damage down onto the damage dealers, which means that early on, Pays is getting so much extra value. Does go a little far after that point, I think, but on the whole, Pays massively outvaluing, and as we were saying before, if Pays rather has everything up, they can win team fight. Does use all summoners again here. The feather fallback saving the team fight.
Oh my god, every auto stinks a lot now. Bloody hell, he did 2/3 of Taze's health bar with a single Q. That's pretty nuts.
So, JDG get away with that one, but they do lose both summoners from Taze. He's got 4 items now. Infinity Edge has a Bloodthirster on the way, which will make him harder to kill. Of course, now they have double Mountain Dragon onto Arla. He's 5,000 gold behind, but he's still a Scion with an extra 1,000 HP from the Soul Furnace. He's actually a little low in the stacking, actually, all things said and done, but hey, 5,000 gold behind in the individual matchup. Scion's still useful. What a champion.
1,364, no, 84 stacks, 84 stacks. You could do better, you could do worse, it'll do for now. Hold the line best we can. Shun now level 16, so the land's quite a lot lower cooldown, nice for him. The other thing is the GA on cooldown from the Horizon, that would be a bit problematic, but 112 stacks on Taeyun, then goes that back.
Yeah, Cube doesn't have teleport. JDG is saying we will rush this down before the Yorick can become a problem, and Arla will just try and hold the door shut.
Monkey is zoned off, Baron secure, but there goes the Yorick, and the reset. Yeah, he might be able to, you know.
Yeah, Arla just ended up using his...
oh boy.
Arla's gone down. There will be one reset. Aurora's gone onto the Nexus and will be able to ult the wave.
Karis now in danger, lands that abscond of Dark, gets Pays into danger, goes up with the feathers on, but can't go anywhere! Finally gets the Lamb's fight by Sniper. Pays is doing his best to stay alive for a second. Where are the feathers? Trying to get the resets to collect the frog! Finally come through, but Taeyun murders many people!
Karis hitting that abscond of Dark onto the flashless, cleanseless Xayah ends up winning in the team fight, and that might just seal the game. Even though there is a Baron buff, I think Scout might not be able to hold this on his own. 30-second death time is elsewhere. W will look for the game end.
Taeyun is so scary right now. He's just chunking these turrets out. He does it from miles away. The game is over. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, and WE hold the line. We're going to a fourth one at WE at series points.
JDG take the Baron for Nexus trade. They die taking the objective, and now on home soil in Beijing, their home arena. Don't mind the Ambassador, that would give you some limited CC. You could also go Galio as well if you wanted to chuck that into mid lane and throw the Akali top lane, choosing not to Ambassador top lane. WE, not that much CC that actually matters against JDG. Every single member has a way out of the Cataclysm. WE though, their early games have been exceptional. Their early games have been really, hello Maya as well, the J-Borg's cat as well. I feel like it's appropriate given the Yumi on the riff. I do need to get myself another coffee, so I'm going to do that while we're into fourth game. This is do or die now for JDG. This is elimination point. WE, a monumental effort to make a run in this lower bracket would be the winner of this faces up against top esports. But WE have 2 match points against JDG.
Eyes on it, and it's a fun draft. They've got a lot hopping in for short drains and backing up. You're going to lose those incremental poke moments. But onto the riff we go. Crowds, take it away.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。还有30秒到达战场。
Crowds have done their yelling. This will be Arla's first game of Camille so far this split. She is known as a player of the champion, but it's been a little while since we've seen Camille in general, all things said and done. The synergies are there. You've certainly got the ability to play the 1-3-1s very well. The skirmishing is dangerous. And a Hextech Ultimatum plus a Glacial Prison. Sounds pretty miserable. Add an Ayumi to empower some of your melee assassins, and you can do quite a lot of work. Grasp for the Yone as well as the Camille. Of course, Yone has been known to do things like fleet footwork and a few of those other options, but going for a bit more of that health stacking option. WE though, skirmishing's also pretty good. A little low on CC. A lot of like skirmishing potential of their own right. They argue they'd probably come online just a little bit earlier with the Ambessa and the Jarvan. Kali as well can match the Yone pretty well, and if Karis or you can get ahead, some nasty tools there. Even if they're CC a bit more conditional, shall we say. Other ways to get out of the Cataclysm, for example, from JDG. Bot side, it's not a Karma. Of course, the Karma was taken, so you can Ezreal Karma. So trying to match that with the Yumi. Missing was one good player of that, alongside people like Ruler back in the day when Zeri Yumi was a thing. Oh, Karis misses a minion. Wasn't a cannon, it's alright. Like minus 0.5. Damage comes on down. Taeyun gets exhausted and cleanses it away. About a half HP. Offside, Q gets a nice chunk before Arla can get the adaptive defenses down. Shouldn't, though. It is bot side. And Taeyun and Vampire are shoved up. They've walked across vision now, so they're going to start running away. Even with the passive and the fleet footwork is alright.
So, early bot lane. Ezreal Yumi, one of the reasons it's really fallen off is because the laning phase is much more difficult than it was. Worth noting as well, Shun going for a wraparound gank.
Trying to try again.
He will, actually. They don't have the exhaust. They don't have that much hard CC. He's flashing the Taeyun and Vampire. Should approach this.
That was burned early on as the exhaust came on down. They're going to try and get the root on down. They're trying to play this one out regardless to get the deadly flourish on in to say, well, we'll go for the full all-in. Missing now in danger. Can't get back onto the side of Ezreal because the W was interrupted. Taeyun will fall. Vampire needs to speed himself up. Gets some defiance to his name. Doesn't have a flash. Gets the root down. Gets that onto Pace. No renewal, though, so the healing just isn't there. And they end up going 2 for 1.
The Taeyun and Vampire doing fairly well at turning around these ganks into at least 1 kill, but losing 2 this time and getting a kill not over to just the Ezreal, but the Sejuani as well. That's a problem. However, the prize on the other side, Monkey clearing fast through the top side camps, and Monkey will be ahead in the individual matchup again. Shun has been falling behind an XP in every single game. He's investing a lot to get himself, get his bot lane or A lane ahead, but he's been so far behind. I wonder whether Monkey could just run off with this game. That's a huge farm advantage.
Gonna get the full quadrant. Oh my days.
This is a jobless Sejuani. This is why you can't drop camps continually and just spam gank anymore. You can't just hit level 3 and expect things to go completely fine after that point. So, Taeyun and Vampire, they're at the level 2. I go for a hard trade. Missing, I guess, just walks over and tries to activate as passive, and then yeah, just gets completely caught out by the CC chain. Both double flash forwards. It is summoners used by Taeyeon and Vampire, but they do get the 1 kill back.
Their thought process, well, we're not getting out, we may as well go in. Vampire goes down, nice return gang from Shun. Still stuck at 60 CS, but 2-0-1, the ganks have worked. Gonna lose more camps though.
No, he's level 3, level 5. Level 3, level 5. Now, maybe JDG are banking on the fact that the Jarvan won't actually have that much use later, because there's so many people that can get out of that pit. But that doesn't mean you can play without a jungler. Shun is going to be absolutely useless in terms of XP, and in terms of being a tank, if he stays at this kind of deficit.
Monkey can keep invading, especially with Cube having this early shove here. Could allow for a return to this blue side quadrant and make things very tricky. Back for a full Coalfields Warhammer. In a great spot here. Of course, the gold lead, ironically, is over towards Pays right now. Not Pays, Shun right now, and that's basically he's managed to get those ganks off early. Success.
Yeah, but again, this is why many years ago we left the permagank meta and went into like more of a farming meta around about the 2021-22 season. Around that, it went from being 2018-2019 Camille, Lee Sin, Trundle jungle even.
Put it all in here, gets the ult out of Scout. Note that Monkey is 2 camps off 6 here. The moment he gets that, he's got it. It was actually just off the 1. Ooh,
he can't kill. He can't kill. Scout has himself the W. You can see that just down that bottom left-hand side of your corner.
He's got Cataclysm.
He has the Cataclysm, but again, he needs to really use this lead he's been given. He is over double Shun CS, a player who, a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of Shun from his time on BLG or IG. A very personable player, and player which has reached a world finals, of course, the BLG as well. He was a large part of the reason JDG found success in this split, but he's also the reason that they're slumping right now in no small part.
Drag a few of these dragons over, that'll be the trade. It doesn't have any raptors up, so Shun will at least manage to steal away a Krug camp, but that's it. Best moment there on the Sejuani. And actually, if we're coming towards a Grubs fight in about a minute and a half, I wonder whether Shun's going to be in trouble in terms of having level 6 around a potentially big fight.
Oh, he'll definitely have issues with that. So JDG might have to trade early objectives for early bot lane lead. Now, you have managed to get your Ezreal Yuumi out of the early game. That is a factor. That is useful. However, I will say, Ezreal, if you have a bad position in the team fight, Vesserol forcing out the E, or Jarvan forcing out the E, Karis Akali will chase you down. But this Ezreal is not impervious in this game. Getting out of early game definitely helps, and there's an exhaust on the Yuumi to help them survive later on into the play. But this is not going to be just, oh, if Ezreal gets ahead, it's the end of the game. It makes it easier, sure, but it's not going to be nearly so simple.
Especially because the Sejuani hasn't really tamed up with the solo lanes to get them ahead, has looked towards his Ezreal, and I get the angle, right? Pays is a very, very scary player, and it's put Taeyeon a ways behind where he was hoping not to be. Hey, at the end of the world, there's only a 400 gold discrepancy, whereas you're looking towards his jungle and you're going, that's a bit tricky. At least catch-up XP is a hell of a drug in the jungle, and so actually Shun should be hitting level 6 pretty shortly.
Yeah, he's still, a level and a half down. There's a hell of a lot. He'll clear through the red buff. He will get himself to that level 6 off of that, but make no mistake, Shun is not happy with his position in the game in terms of farming clears. So just hoping basically that the Jarvan being ahead will not matter as much as the Ezreal.
Big a level down. It's going to be the end of the world here with the level 6 now up. Can get towards his god with that available. Do they care? I think not. Monkey now moving away from that farm.
It would be a 4v5. You look down on the minimap and he's happy to just say, look, I'm going to go towards bot side instead. If Shun can go into bot side jungle and get a camp steal here, maybe that'll be okay. Instead, backing to get himself spend that gold. 3 grubs over to W would cost that.
Pretty annoying when you've gone for Camille, Yona. You'd like some of those grubs, please. Gonna happen here. Zala, we at least get a bit of time alone on this bot side turret, so we get a plate here. Not too much more than that.
Still something JDG choose to not fight at this point. As you were saying before, gold relatively even in jungle matchup. Bot lane, you expect the Jhin Calm to be very, very lane dominant because of the efforts of Shun. Not necessarily been as simple as that. Taeyeon and Vampire staying in top side 3 grubs will allow them to get the second combo with Yuko Monkey there. I don't think you can actually smite this away.
He's got the upgraded smite. He's got the upgraded smite at that 900, whereas Shun's only at 6.
But I'm pretty sure that Shun just got that anyway. Pretty sure. I saw the gold crop up on top of that. I think he got it regardless.
Second, that's a bit frustrating. Should have been an easy pickup from Monkey. Was he a bit off on the smite there? He's used it.
Not sure. He had used it, but I feel like Shun. I saw the gold crop up ahead of it, so I assumed it was him, but maybe I missaw. 3 grubs now being used by Karis to get some extra damage onto the turret there.
He's spot out. I just keep an eye on it as we look mid lane, where trading has been going pretty well for the Akali early. Managed to pick up a fair CS lead of about 10 or so, been keeping Scout trapped into this turret.
Yeah, it definitely hurts Scout the fact that Shin was so active on the bot side of the map, couldn't really do anything about the melee versus melee matchup in mid lane, especially with Monkey being able to punish.
You were indeed right. Look, there is no blue buff around Monkey, so there you go. Miss Smoke, despite having the advantage.
I saw the gold pop up and I thought, ha, Sejuani passive, hell of a drug. Managed to win that out somehow, and that's important because it allows him to pick up again a little bit of that XP which he's missing. Every camp which he manages to take is actually a fairly big deal for Shin.
Mid lane could be a bit threatening. Q3 available. That Mortal Steel also comes on down. Graded TPs. Does get that knock up into the Spirit Cleave. Get too much more. Arla getting a bit of shove up top side, but doesn't quite get much more than a little bit of a plate there. And Cube should be there to receive the wave.
Jungle is clearing through some camps and getting a Scuttle Crab, which is again nice for him, picking up some of the XP which he lost earlier. Still solid, almost full level down onto Monkey.
Monkey's not really... He's got too early objectives, and that is good. Don't get me wrong, that is something. But yet full of characters, yet to really get value out of a level lead as yet. And again, only a single level down to tank. Flash away as that Shuriken flip would have threatened to kill.
Yeah, he had to. Scout maybe could have done some big outplay flash under turrets that he came in and then locked them up with the ultimate on the other side of it. It would have been a very close run thing. Top lane is now fighting off very heavily. Arla always was a very good duelist player on the top side. His Jax, Fiora, Camille were very notable on the LMG days of 2021. Almost stopping the reset with the Protobelt. One of the most annoying things that Akali can have in the game for stuff like that. Allows them, for some reason, a bit more range potential.
Valiant effort there from Karis. And again, for all that Karis has been a pretty streaky player, Akali will always be a comfort pick for him. He's so good on it. And the Azir earlier as well. Very different style of champion, but another one he's very comfortable on. Hang on, Scout needs to be a bit wary. Just out of range of that flag and drag. So it's just the Martial Cadence auto, and that'll be it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get the full chunk in there with the extra auto attack after Shun now flying over. There's no combo. Hang on, he might be able to get a play here.
Into the Twilight Shroud, Scout doesn't pull the ultimate. Dragon's up, that would be second for WE.
Shouldn't have managed to hit that Q knock-up. I think the melee synergy would have come out tops there. Monkey now going to start off this Dragon. Mount Dragon, of course, always good in terms of basic ones to get. Haven't seen the Rift yet, of course, we'll get after that point. JDG yet to give a big fight. With Haze Refalling, does have the teleport reminder. He can go get himself some stats, maybe come back. I think realistically, JDG don't want to tussle right now. Want to try and get some farm out of lanes.
Prowling projectile comes on out, is missing, is now on top of Shun, made himself best friend forever. One way to try to balance you is to stick with their AD carry, say, look, you get added bonuses for sticking on them.
Because it was so broken when you would play with Xin Zhao or Lee Sin. Olaf was a huge one, yes, for sure, because it turns out that any kind of AD fighter champion, like Camille or something like that, getting extra heals and shields is just not balanceable. They tried to remove some of the ability to play around that. But when you get this late into the draft, you'll still take an enchanter in a map like this.
Scout unbinds his soul briefly, and Karis goes, eat my 5-point strike. And Scout goes, no, not like this. And has to rebind his soul.
No, have mercy. Right, I mean, Karis got the early plate, about 10 CS stuff, as we were saying. Basically, because Shun was behind in the XP and was not really playing around mid lane, it meant that Scout had to play very respectfully towards Monkey, who wasn't ever present around mid lane, could just drop off of a wall take or something like that and come run mid lane. That's the reason for a lot of that pressure. Of course, doesn't change the fact now that Karis is ahead on a pick which could potentially solve this game for WWE. Karis has been a man unleashed. He's been very, very good in this series. His Silas walking away with MVP from that last game. For a player much like Taeyu and much like many other players on this roster, exceeding expectations. And we'll see what he can do with this draft. That Akali could be the key piece to WWE's victory.
Some of the scrim gods of the LCK finally showing a bit more on stage. Cataclysm finally used from Monkey, but the fates are only landed to one. Prison comes across, back away as the final chapter is going and no one's interested in reading. TP in from Cube. Needs to get some Dracon steps away. No one dies. There's some summoners that burn. That's about it. Deadly First land. Pays now in danger. Gets all cut. The equals tumble down to the Monkey. Gonna get Hextech ultimate as Marla's also here. Public execution. Oh, the shield! Oh, the Defiance is great. And now the perfect execution can come on through. There's a lot of executions this game. Beginning to find some force shots. One to come on through. It's missing with a body block anyway.
Yeah, Arla dies to get Payson missing out because he goes in to just get a bit of CC'd and likely knew it was a one-way trip, and JDG failed their first attempt at a fight this game. Really wonder whether Scout could have had a more valuable ultimate. Only the single target hit in that karma on the backline, and WE get themselves a kill, and that's a good moment for them, showing that actually, this Yuumi Ezreal, which has got out in this early game, is not terminating things just yet.
Also means coming into this dragon fight in 2.5 minutes, FaZe will not have flash.
Importantly so, because Karis forced it out of this there. So, Cataclysm over the wall. Scout could have got a big clump. I think if he catches Taeyun, and Vampire, I think this fight is very, very different. Couldn't quite get the follow-up there. And then this is just whatever the hell Z-Axis is. Because I just thought, I mean, look at this! How is that hit?
Way wild. I don't blame FaZe on that one.
That's basically Jin being on higher ground than the Ezreal who's on low ground. And look, the line on the ground is not where the particle goes. It is a 2D game made to look like 3D. It is a false vertical axis, and it does cash you out. That's just nasty.
You, weak, ineffectual, blame Zed the champion. I, intellectual Chad Caster, blame Zed the axis. That is the true menace in League of Legends.
It is sometimes. Herald now available. No huge gold lead for anyone now, actually. Herald 400 gold, that's the most it gets. WE, they don't have the flash Cataclysm themselves.
Maybe to play this regardless. I think it would be a bit risky though. Karis can spot a danger, backs away on it. Rather save their ammunition for the dragon fight in a minute and a half. Monkey though finds a good turnaround into the Cataclysm. Karis to the backline. They've murdered one. They've done Monkey though in trade. Should getting a purple cross off on the cube. Looking at Drake step around, does a lot of work. The Hector goes
oh, Pays!
Danger. Putting a lot of damage down. He's getting to auto. Karis flashed on, and Arle flashes for the auto. She needs to back away. Needs to get the blast zone out to safety. Where is he going though? His phase has been unleashed. The Yuumi on top of him means he just won't die.
The Ezreal Yuumi is online. Red alert, DEFCON 1. Pays and Missing clean up the fight because WE feel like they can, engage onto the targets in front of him, but they don't get enough damage down on the AD carry to survive the back end of the fight.
I need to see this again because it felt like Monkey found a really good angle at the start of that. Karis gets into the backline and Pace just isn't touched.
Yeah, I thought that Karis getting into melee range of Ezreal would be enough, but I guess not with Missing Enchanter online. Surely we'll see a replay of it, but just watch how much time Karis spends in melee range of Pace. We'll see it now. There's the initial pick onto Scout, which is a good one. There's half the damage going down. It's good melee synergy with the Sejuani taken out, especially with Yone's ultimate not really being able to determine things. Look at Karis here. Melee range. Gets himself some extra damage, chooses to put some onto Shun instead. Karis is melee range of the Ezreal and chooses not to hit him.
Yeah, decides to turn onto the execute on Sejuani.
I think Karis, basically following the team call of, let's kill the first target, but you need to do damage to the Ezreal. You are melee range. It's a golden opportunity. Rarely do you get that against such a mobile carry. It doesn't execute on it.
Perfectly. Dragon's now up. It would be soul point for WE, but after that last debacle, I don't think they're going to have a chance to set up properly.
Double Summoners from Missing coming up soon in the next half a minute. So heal and exhaust going to be something that they have to get through. Karis not having the flash, making it harder to determine some of the damage coming down there. Dragon started by WE, would be Ocean Soul point. Not something Shade you want to give over lightly, but they're not in position to contest right now.
Keep Shun away from them. The best CC for it. I think if it becomes a smite fight. Try and turn around. 2k HP, gets it, does Vampire, as both Jungler smite a little early. Cleanse away from Taeyun, is hit by the Glacial Crystal, but he turn around, the final chapter comes up through, Monkey is dead. Not all that tanky, all of that gold early means very little. Vampire now in danger, trapped in the Hextech ultimatum, they lose a second. Soul point 2.
Soul point for 2, however, JDG don't have another objective to go towards. 2 minutes until the Aftercon, they can maybe push towards a turret and take that. JDG threatening in the fight, and that is really, really worrying for WE now. 3 kills in Arla, 2,000 gold ahead. If it wasn't enough trying to deal with the Ezreal and the Yuumi, now you have to deal with a very... Hang on, effect ult, so it's going forwards.
The open now, Scout's gone way too deep. He's in so much trouble. Gonna get some healing sort of, but dies anyway. The Binding of the Soul. Kurt's now called, looking for an angle. Shoots some people, but Shun is pretty damn tanky at this point. He's down 40 CS and still doing better than Monkey right now.
Scout, 1,000 gold down himself though, talking about, hey, really important that Arla and Paze are ahead. Scout, a player which should not escape criticism for JDG. I think probably the two worst performers, I would argue, are Shun and Missing across this team, but Scout has not been playing well either. No, he really has been. Paze and Arla, I think, being more consistent for this team. Paze, he's been trying his goddamn best, folks. He's been so excellent for this team. The mid jungle and the support for JDG all having their rough patches. This is against WE. This is not what we consider a strong team in the LPL, but JDG a team which have been on their ups and downs. They've had slumps, they've had spikes, and right now, sadly, they're frothing so hard. Perhaps WWE could force them out of playoffs in their own home turf.
Look at this dragon again, because it comes down to a vampire auto to claim it. 1900 HP.
Ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean, how it ends up being like that. Insane to me. 2 smites and neither of them gets it. Then of course the fight comes afterwards. They've stayed a little over position. If WWE are the ones that are actually engaged onto and they can't find an ult onto the backline onto someone important, they get busted. You know, the Camille ult, if it lands onto someone like the Jarvan or the Camille or the Ambassador or the Akali even in the fight, one, it will split the team and disrupt them, but also it stops them from joining on the dive in the backline. Ala with a golden opportunity now to win the team fight for JDG. Of course, JDG would like to not give over the soul point with the big combat buff to WE, but JDG have the tools to win team fights still.
they very much do, and the fact that Ezreal is so online should be scary. There's no other way around it. I understand Taylor's gone collect it into Lord Doms, needs all of the armor pen as possible to deal with the fact there will be a fair amount of things. Sterak's armor stacking, particularly if it is Sejuani holding the line.
Atakan started up his own vision. Keep has teleport, could go down. Ala in the mid lane right now. I mean, he can just get out of this, has no flash, but hookshot is enough for him right now. Melee synergy with Sejuani means he take objectives very quickly. Monkey's still heading down though, and they are getting shredded by the Atakan.
He's gonna dodge himself, gonna flag and drag towards it, can get on in to try and find it. Akali nabs it. Monkey will likely die here as a result, but the objective is stolen. Hang on, Karis' TP away, gets out to safety, does!
And it's one for Atakan. JDG, panic, desperation, and misexecution. Karis steals the Atakan because Shun's smite key is not on point. It's a criticism we've had of him before. JDG will not be able to defend their mid lane turret either. It's not like you can take one kill into the Baron. It's much too early for that. We'll only be spawning in 4 minutes time. And WE sneaking bits and pieces away from JDG. W haven't really won a big team fight yet, but if they keep happening like this, maybe you don't have to in this kind of sense. The smite is poor, hits it with the E, goes down to 100 HP. That's 2 objectives in a row, but Shun is smoked early and not secure.
Doesn't work. In the end, it's the Atakan still. Soul Point and Atakan makes things tricky. This Akali is still very, very scary. I think the moment the Shadow Flame comes on through, life gets trickier again. Lord Dominic's now done for Taeyu. All the while, though, Shun, for all the smite fights not being good, is actually managed to get value in terms of Paze is still pretty much untouchable. The Sejuani, for all she's ahead 800 gold despite being down 40 CS. It hasn't led to the advantage we were worried about.
Yeah, and Hayes is going for the Shojin third because he can do it. That means he's going to have a bunch of extra HP and a bunch of extra ability. I think until that happens, there is a chance that, you know, not Galio, I just see the Jarvan, I just sometimes make that connection. The Jarvan, the Ambassador, and the Akali want to force the first E out of the team fight so someone else can face up and take them down. With Shojin, you hit 2 Qs and your E is back up. You also got the extra shielding, the double defensive summoners from missing helping you out. It's not nearly as easy to play once they get that item. So WE, I mean, with 20 seconds of the Dragon, they'd like to take this, but they don't necessarily... This is actually a good window for them. They can get the Soul before the Shojin comes through and causes big problems with the extra mobility coming out of the Ezreal.
Fortunately, Monkey doesn't have the Sterak's weapon yet. That would give him a lot more ability to go hell to leather. But he's still finding a black line access, forces Pace to be away, but really get all that high value. Monkey in danger. But on the other side, Scout is just dead. Monkey clenched away, buying some time. Karis caught inside the Hextech ultimate and he's trying to find some value. He's going to get loads of damage though. Lands the Shuriken flip again. Continue trying to keep missing alive. Shun will force at least the flash out. He jump on a Pace. Who's got missing on top of him? Can they get on top of him? They get him! Drag! They brought him down. He's gone to the pit. And still Karis survives in the jungle. He's trading up with Shun with no HP. Permafrost brings him down. Siding away. Shun doesn't die.
Fourth shot kills him. Last kill for Taeyeon, but most importantly, the Soul. The Scout dies once again, unceremoniously. 2,000 gold down. No kills on the board in the Yone. JDG just gave up Ocean Soul, and they also flubbed the team fight. WE, this was their chance to take a big fight before the third item from the Ezreal, which we talked about being an issue for them. They find that one miracle moment, and now JDG, they have to play against an Ocean Soul. And I wonder whether they're going out 3-1 here, Sam. I mean, initially Monkey forces the E out of Pace, but I was thinking, oh, it should be fine. But after that, you know, Scout, uses the E a little late, gets rooted anyway, and Scout, you should have just ulted out to safety. Massive mistake from the veteran mid laner on poor form here for JDG.
Oh, Monkey gets a triple knock at the back end of it as well. Like, the guy goes in, gets targeted, gets out, goes right back in, and they just jump at base because then his front line is gone. He can't play the distance as he wants to, and you're out of tools.
This mid jungle from JDG, at the start of the year when it was announced that Shinobi joined the roster, and said, look, this roster will live and die by the mid jungle. They're dying by it. Shun gets 1 kill here, but his game has been poor. He fell so far behind. His series has been largely quite poor. And Scout in the mid lane, he's arguably been worse, been a non-factor in some.
Yeah.
And yes, you have the Ocean Soul now, and W makes it so much harder to take extended fights.
This game from Shun, the smite key's been problematic. Everything else, I can really see the reason for it. Had a good Xin Zhao game, and then the other games were just so much the other way. Consistency has hurt this player. A Monkey looking for the flag and drag. Doesn't quite get paid, but does get on to the Sejuani, who's got the final chapter rolling from the Uni on top of the Monkey. Going to be locked up, trying to buy some time, get some decent healing, but he's got a lot of time. They're going to kill off Mirrors. As Karis looking for the angle, they still got the Uni going trapped off top of someone. Into the backlash of the pace. Murders everyone! Shun! Eating the 5-point strikes. The curtains are called. JDG are bowing out of playoffs.
WE find their mid lane play they were looking for. Karis on his Akali, assassinates Pays, and JDG, it was 1 game of hubris too far. JDG may be bowing out in round 1 of lower black bracket of playoffs.
WE, once known as World Elite, once the greatest team the LPL had ever known, the home of Wei Xiao. Arguably the greatest AD carry player to ever do it. Never mind Uzi, there's a legend in his own right. Onto the Baron they go. Shun has yet to hit a smite. Maybe this is the moment he's going to have to try. He feels the desperation to do it. JDG bow out here. What a disappointment. Z-Axis again. We know what Zed we all really hate. There's the Baron secured. Another death for 40 seconds for Shun.
JDG, I think this is it. I think this is it. Pays has tried his damn best. I don't want to see people criticizing Pays in the comments after this game because, oh my god, he is trying his best. It's Shun falling behind. It's the poor smite key which gave the objectives over while JDG were in the advantage. And it's Scout being completely diffed by Karis, a player which people had 0 expectations of. You have a world champion in Scout in the mid lane from 2021, multiple LPL champion, a legend of the LPL scene, achieving so little, missing Karis with that ultimate there. Maybe that could have been the lockup to save Pays. Shun flashed over and just ends up dying as well. Karis, magnificent series from a mid laner with so low expectations on himself. Magnificent series from WE with so low expectations on themselves.
Tayu, 7-2. Karis on his pick, the Akali. It's one of those champions that he has always gone to when the chips are down, the back's against the wall. Series point to take out JDG. Yeah, that'll count.
WE, if they win this, they go against top esports. A hard task, but one they will have earned for themselves. You know, WE, I didn't think they would reach Group Ascent. They proved me wrong. I didn't think they'd make it through JDG. They might prove me wrong again here with Baron buff, with a gold lead, with Ocean Soul. I don't see how JDG fight their way through this now. W have so many tools to get past the front line and force the Ezreal E because they're so fed. If they were behind in the game, I don't think that would be the case. But they have so much gold now, I don't think Pays will ever be safe on his own. JDG must find a way to protect this Ezreal, or their split ends here.
Horrifying thoughts, really. Arla's got 2 items. You've got 2 items on the One, 3 on the Ezreal. There are tools here, but it needs to catch multiple people. It needs to catch Taeyun and Karis before they do horrible things to Pays. Pays needs a team fight, but for once he's untouched, and that's just so hard to do now. Against Ocean Soul, your poke from Ezreal means a lot less when you back away for 10 seconds and it disappears.
Baron buff still being used for the last minute. Ultimate top side. There's no Ezreal here, and they catch Ezreal. In fact, he was there, and they kill him.
Perfect execution comes on through, and I apologize to the public one, because of course, in the mid lane, Karis having to deal with a 1v2 and just doesn't care. Lands a shuriken flip. Go back to where he started, and now the curtains are called again. Another bow, another encore, and JDG in danger. Arla tries to get out of his own base, but the hook shot finds nothing. Scout hit with the shuriken flip will rebind his soul, and in goes Karis again. The Mortal Steel looks all too over. He's in a grave, and nothing left to buy, nothing left to do. Ding Dong Gaming go out in round 1 of playoffs.
JDG, the 3rd place team in Winter, fell by W&D, a team which we didn't even expect to be here. World Elite, welcome back. JDG bow out on their home stage.